What distant world now waits to cradle our next great dream? Can we imagine the first fragile heartbeat that might one day echo beneath an alien sky? In the hush of evening, we reflect on the world we leave behind. All around our pale blue home, life thrives in 1,000 tender ways. A child learns to write their name beneath the same sky. A teacher closes a book under the last golden light. On distant shores, waves lap quietly at moonlit sands. Somewhere a violin's song drifts from an open window, and a parent hums a lullaby to a sleeping child. Forests breathe gently, birds take wing at dawn, and cities glow softly as dusk falls. Each of these simple moments is sacred to us, each a reminder of what makes Earth special. In this vast expanse of nature and humanity, we have built our greatest treasures. The whispers of poets, the curve of mountain ranges, the laughter of friends over dinner. These are the threads woven into the fabric of Earth. Somewhere, right now, life on Earth is unfolding in countless small, wonderful ways. A child somewhere sees the first star of evening and makes a wish. A farmer in the dawn light feels the cool earth and the promise of a new harvest. In a quiet bedroom, a parent hums a lullaby under the watching moon. With every gentle breath, every quiet sunset, and every heartbeat, Earth gives us life and love in full measure. Beneath the sky's every hue, on the soil of this earth, life thrives in stories small and grand. Somewhere, someone takes their first step on grass. Elsewhere, someone shares a smile with a neighbour. These small miracles happen on the same pale blue stage. They remind us how unique and precious our home is, and we feel profound gratitude for all that we have here. Even as we treasure these wonders, another dream lights our minds. We still look up at the night sky and wonder about what lies beyond. It is as if the stars are whispering to us. Could there be another world out there, among the distant lights, where life has also taken hold? This gentle question fills us with hope rather than fear. We imagine what it would mean for another place to cradle life as tenderly as our Earth does. We think of explorers of old, standing at rocky shores or atop high mountains, gazing at horizons beyond and feeling both awe and a tug at the heart. That same sense of wonder stirs within us now, but even stronger, because we understand how special life is. The idea of another Earth calls to the very best in us: curiosity, creativity, and care. It might seem strange to dream of a second Earth when our own world is so beautiful and full, but thinking of another haven for life is not meant to diminish our love for home. Rather, it is like dreaming of an even richer garden next to the one we tend now. Just as a gardener plants extra seeds to ensure the flowers always bloom, we imagine a future where life can flourish, even if our world should change. We know, deep down, that Earth is precious and fragile. By letting ourselves dream, we learn to cherish each rainbow and each starry night. We feel responsible not only to protect our one true home, but also to nurture hope that life's garden might grow larger still. Already, our dreams are becoming plans. Even as we sit under Earth's sky, far-flung eyes are turned toward the heavens. Telescopes are watching the stars night after night, looking for the smallest signs of something orbiting them. Scientists listen to the steady pulse of distant suns for any wobble that might betray a hidden planet. They measure the brightest stars carefully, waiting for even a tiny dip in light that would signal a planet passing by. These researchers keep a gentle vigil, each of them knowing that the universe is patient and that one day those first quiet clues will become unmistakable evidence. We have begun to trust that the cosmos will share its secrets when it is ready. Our quest is guided by love and by science hand in hand. Every new planet found strengthens our resolve. We have already discovered thousands of worlds, gas giants, ice worlds, blazing broilers orbiting too close, and frozen worlds far out in the dark. Among them are some rocky planets that could have water. Each discovery whispers that Earth-like realms could exist. Perhaps one among those distant lands has mountains, oceans, and skies pale blue like ours. Each breathless announcement of a new world fills us with wonder and a growing certainty. With each flicker of a telescope's data, our maps of the night grow richer and our dreams grow clearer. Even now, advanced missions prepare to help. A space telescope named Kepler taught us that planets are common, that many stars likely have a planet in the just right zone for life. Its successor, TESS, now scans the sky around brighter stars, promising to find the best candidates close to our cosmic neighborhood. Soon, the James Webb Space Telescope, with its enormous mirror, will study some of these planets' atmospheres directly, looking for water vapor or oxygen. On Earth, new giant telescopes are being built on mountaintops to block out our own atmosphere's blur. Some engineers even plan fleets of telescopes flying together, forming a single giant eye in space to spot dim, Earth-like glimmers. Each new tool and mission feels like a leap forward, as if each one is a friend raising a lantern in the dark to help us see better. Still, the search is patient and careful. The sky is vast and full of stars, and not every glance will reveal a world. Every tiny flicker of light requires careful study to make sure it is a planet and not a trick of our instruments. Teams of scientists around the world spend months verifying a potential find. They cross-check data, eliminate errors, and sometimes even enlist volunteers sorting through planet search images. It's like trying to notice a candle flame in front of a stadium spotlight. Possible, but only with care and many eyes. Sometimes what looked promising turns out to be something else. But each attempt also teaches us more about how to look. We proceed with humility, grateful for every clue that the universe lets us have. Meanwhile, we prepare for the day we might travel ourselves. Our nearest star, Proxima Centauri, is still 4 light-years away, which means that at today's speeds, it would take tens of thousands of years to reach. We cannot wait that long. So we pour our dreams into making new technologies. In space stations and on Earth, we test new propulsion ideas. Long solar sails like delicate wings catching sunlight, rockets powered by nuclear reactions, or even beams of lasers pushing light sails. We study cryogenic sleep, dreaming of preserving our body's cells until we wake centuries later at another sun. Alternatively, we consider generation ships, floating worlds in themselves where families will live and grow for generations before sighting the destination. Each concept has its challenges, but none extinguishes our quiet determination to turn science fiction into reality. On board an interstellar vessel, life would take on a different rhythm. Imagine walking through biodomes full of real grass and trees, feeling rain that falls in a controlled cycle. In one dome, fields of grain sway under a simulated sunrise. In another, gardeners tend orchards that provide the crew with fruit and shade. Every drop of water, every breath of air is recycled carefully, and even the waste is reclaimed as nourishment. People would wake according to a strict schedule. Time zones of Earth would merge into a shipboard clock. They would tend plants and animals, perhaps even keep small herds of sheep, all to make the ship's ecosystem thrive. Engineers would maintain the engines and life support. Children would learn about the stars that now keep watch outside the windows, and grown-ups would study the data sent back from ahead. There would be room for wonder and normalcy too. The crew might celebrate holidays on board, knowing that Earth is getting the same calendar days past. Perhaps one day they'll mark launch day with music and stories. They would share songs and stories of home in a gentle ritual each evening under the ship's artificial sky. A small corner of the ship might be set aside as a memorial to Earth, a photograph of home, or even soil from one of our mountains or forests. This way, no matter how far the ship travels, a piece of Earth's spirit remains with them. Of course, the journey will be long and sometimes quiet. Every passing minute, the distant stars incrementally shift. As the months and years go by, the sun will become one of many stars in their sky. Their original home will shrink to a tiny dot, and eventually a shimmer behind them. The crew knows it and does not look back too long, for they have a mission ahead. Instead, they let themselves find comfort in routine, tending the hydroponic farms, running physical exercises in the low-gravity gym, teaching the ship's children about the family trees of everyone on board. Their daily meals might consist of food grown right there in space, bread from onboard wheat, vegetables from artificial gardens, always cooked and eaten with an awareness of how precious each morsel truly is. When the launch day finally comes, millions of humans around Earth will share our breath. They will watch from continents and islands alike, on calm fields, under canopy of rainforests, on snow-laden streets, all gazing upward in hope and pride. Parents will hold their children tight and say, "This is for our future," while elders remember the first time humans left Earth's atmosphere. The rocket will stand poised beneath the starry sky, a shining testament to generations of dreaming. The moment the engines ignite, a gentle roar will grow as the rocket rises, slowly and gracefully, from the launch pad. Through the cabin windows, the astronauts will see Earth's horizon curve away, draped in golden light. The controls will sense each soft thrust, each push of the engines, like a hand giving a friendly nudge forward. All around them, engineers will watch their decades of work come to life on screens, each green indicator a silent cheer of, "It's working." Through a blanket of clouds, continents will shrink to a swirl of blues and greens far below. City lights will wink out as day floods in, and the sky itself will darken to the deep velvet of space. The crew might press their palms to the glass to feel gravity's hold lessen. One may glance down to see the moon for the last time, a pale companion. As the final kilometers of atmosphere fade, the sound and vibration will ease away completely. In that weightless instant, the crew will smile to feel the gentle freedom of zero gravity again. A pen floating, a patch of food lifting from the table. Outside the ship, Earth will truly become what we once only called it. A pale blue dot hung against a backdrop of stars. Inside, life will settle into a peaceful routine. The hum of life support equipment will be their new constant lullaby. In clean uniforms, the crew will tend the ever-present hydroponic gardens, test their instruments, and share quiet meals. There might be a quiet game of chess in the observation lounge, or one person reading old poetry about home while the stars pass outside. Evenings will be calm. The ship's night cycle will bathe the interior in a soft red glow, and each astronaut will find the same face of their home as they close their eyes to sleep. At such moments, they might recall the feel of a warm breeze on Earth, the sound of an ocean wave, the laughter of someone they've left behind. All those memories, as real as they were, will now be as distant as starlight, yet just as comforting in the darkness of space. Sometimes the crew will gather together for silent vigils. They will listen to recorded messages sent just before launch, a mother's gentle goodbye, a friend's cheerful encouragement, music from Earth's heart. In that quiet company, they feel Earth's warmth around them, stronger than ever in these memories. They might whisper wishes to the night sky, as if sending them home along the radio waves. Under the unchanging stars, they will plan even farther journeys, imagining what they will do when they finally approach a new world, how they might send the first signals back home from that distant shore. Days will turn into weeks, and the starship will finally seem to blaze a trail of its own through the galaxy. Perhaps one evening, an astronomer aboard will exclaim with quiet joy that the dim point of light ahead is their target star. The others will gather at the window to see it, a pinprick of light they have aimed for all this time. It is as if the night sky itself has arranged that pin for them, a destination marker. Even so, life aboard remains serene. They float through the void with no sense of urgency or fear. Each sunrise in the cabin is calmly celebrated, another sign that all systems remain steady and the dream lives on. With each passing day in the stars, the crew feels themselves growing into a new identity. They think less about what they left and more about what they will find. Already, they imagine the day when they will set foot on strange soil beneath unfamiliar skies. They dream of the first sunrise they will see in that new world, how its light might colour the ship's walls or golden shores. These thoughts keep them connected to purpose. And when the silence of space presses in, they remember. They carry with them everything Earth has given, the wisdom of generations, the songs of civilizations, the dream of adventure. Far behind them, the solar system fades into memory. Our sun becomes a distant point in the celestial sphere, joining the sea of stars that fill their view. Out here, there are no short journeys, no quick returns. Earth is just another star now, bright among billions, but no longer unique in their vision. Ahead lies the unknown, worlds unseen, choices yet to be made. And in their hearts is the deep hope that somewhere among those shining suns is a new home. In the quiet beyond, there are no endings in sight, only the promise of new beginnings. We leave our old world in silence and step gently into the vast night. Every passing star is a question, every light year a line in our story. The journey continues, and the night sky holds many more chapters to come. When the artificial lights begin to shift in intensity, a gentle clarity returns to the ship's halls. Metal walls and fixtures gradually become visible once more. Far down a corridor, a cleft in the hull broadens with a click, revealing an observation bay tinted glass. Through that glass, the interior reflects back at the ship's inhabitants, like a distant galaxy of faces. But in here, in this glowing corridor, the first promise of the day is born from human ingenuity. Slowly, a soft light starts to trace the walls, subtle at first, like moonlight, then growing warmer, bathing the metal in a gentle golden hue. It spreads outward from the central hub, as if the ship itself were waking with the dawn. Wherever crew members stand, they turn their gaze upward or run a hand along the wall to drink in this new light. A few people stir in the berths lining this main hallway. In quiet movements, they slide from their sleep pods with yawns and stretching arms. The ship remains silent, but in every corner, the new brightness coaxing them awake is a kind of gentle alarm. Everyone has a reason to rise. A morning exercise routine, a maintenance check on the reactor, a simple cup of the warm morning tea offered by a supply robot making its rounds. After a while, families form slowly. Parents gather their children, still often in pajamas, and guide them toward the central dome that now shimmers with something like real sunlight. Even the more reserved loners allow a soft smile to creep in as they step forward. Outside, endless darkness reminds them of still being far from home. But here, at least, they share this soft daybreak together. As that light continues to bloom, it finds its way into every corridor and compartment. By the time it reaches the dining hall, the menus are already set for the day. Whole grains, fresh vegetables, a choice of tea or rich coffee. The air is filled with a gentle aroma of brewed chai and warm bread. Some crew members gather here first thing, not out of hunger, but habit, to sip a cup of something hot in the morning hush. They lean against a countertop or rest their arms on a table, savouring this peaceful moment before any duties begin. In this leisurely pause, they greet each other with soft nods and half smiles. There are no demands, just the rising calm of awareness. And amid them, laughter quietly blossoms, perhaps over a joke half remembered from dreams, or the sight of a child spilling a bit of milk. Each chuckle floats and fades like smoke among the sounds of gentle morning. Spoons stirring sugar into tea, a box gently opening as fresh milk is poured, a low whistle over the machine brewing coffee. For a moment, the ship feels as if it is sharing in the happiness of dawn too. On this ship, there is no sunrise in the sky, so they tend to imagine it themselves. Engineers check a panel by the viewports. There is still no real star on the horizon, but with LEDs behind the glass, they simulate one. A circular glare appears at the edge, mimicking the faint beginning of the sun's disk, if an Earth with its day and night had somehow come around. As that circle brightens, the light around the room shifts from the cool whites of pre-dawn to a full, warm glow, echoing midday from wherever they left before. Children squeal at the trick. Some run to the window for a better look. An older scientist watches them quietly, her eyes soft, as if she can almost feel a breeze on her face again from an afternoon long gone on Earth. By mid-morning, the entire ship is fully illuminated, as if sunlight fills it. Workspaces hum softly with purpose. In one corner, a researcher steps through the open hatch of the reactor room, stretching muscles stiff from the night. She flicks on all systems carefully, inhaling the familiar scent of coolant. Here, routine is steady and gentle. Instruments awaken with a reassuring beep. Wires hum quietly to life. A physicist in another bay toggles switches, bringing a particle detector online. These activities happen without hurry. Like a pianist easing into a soft melody, each person does what must be done with mindful calm. The beeps and clicks of their consoles become as soothing as bird calls might have been in Earth's dawn. It's an orchestra of normality, and everyone is both conductor and musician. Down the central corridor, a lunch bell tinkles quietly. It marks midday, according to their standard schedule, even though noon is merely a memory. Still, for many this sound is comforting. Families begin to shuffle toward the mess hall again. From the greenhouse outside, green leaves catch the light. Inside, People carry bowls of soup or plates of vegetables freshly plucked that morning. Each one pauses to check on a colleague. "How did the test go?" Or, "How are you feeling today?" The answers come in warm tones. The crew passes dishes slowly, sharing food as people share life. The atmosphere is low and even. They do not speak over each other because they know time and space have no rush here. They laugh softly at a story about life back on Earth, then let silence fall again. Silence not of discomfort, but the ease that follows good company and a full meal. In the ship's gym, the special null gravity room is alive with gentle motion. One astronaut is doing stretches with slow exhalations, enjoying the sensation of muscle fibers uncoiling in weightlessness. Someone else leaps into a purple exercise ball, spinning in circles as training regimen. Nearby, a few drift play with a soft ball tethered on a string, sending it in slow loops as they reach and catch in turn. The scene is almost playful, more like a quiet game than strenuous exercise. From the corner, soft classical music floats out, an old concerto or lullaby pressed into service as encouragement. The players smile as they pass the ball. Victory or score means nothing when the reward is a laugh and some extra oxygen in their lungs. As what would be evening arrives on Earth, the ship simulates a twilight. Top lights dim first to a faint amber, then to a deeper golden glow. Crew members know this is their cue to gather once more. In one lounge area, children lay on cushions with their parents around them, reading storybooks about stars, smiling into each other's eyes. Someone starts humming an old lullaby their mother used to sing. Others quietly queue up a gentle old movie or settle down with the ship's database to learn a star's story. In another compartment, a soft gong sounds. This time part of a meditation session several crew members have arranged. They sit cross-legged, eyes closed, breathing in rhythm with a peaceful melody only they can hear. There are no loud sounds or flashing lights anywhere, only the quiet assurance that another day is drawing to its calm conclusion. When it finally is night, everyone tucks in carefully. Beds on the ship are sleeping bags attached to padded walls, so people drift gently instead of falling. Each crew member lies under a small nightlight that mimics the colours of their favourite sunset on Earth. A parent will often snuggle beside a child, stroking hair and softly whispering, "Good night, the stars are watching." Elsewhere, an engineer double-checks the air recyclers one last time before shutting them to their low nighttime setting. The corridors creak just enough as the metal cools. The life support hums a bit softer. The air itself seems warmer, more still. Everyone's heartbeat and breath slow, aligning with the steady pulse of the ship. In the darkness, each crew member drifts off, warmed by the continuous cycle of human care on board. Through all these routines, the morning stretch, the midday meal, the afternoon rest, the evening gathering, each person remains connected to something larger. Though Earth lies far behind, its rhythms live on here. It is as if every new day on the ship folds into the next, with each night offering the tapestry of stories and the quiet comfort needed to start again. The way the light changed, the way laughter was shared, it is all familiar in a way that feels like home. For now, beneath the gentle hush of space, the ship and its people rest. Tomorrow will come with the same soft certainty, but for this night, they dwell in the soft centre of their own endless voyage. As dawn deepens into something like afternoon, far below, in a place they once called home, that same light, which brought morning, now makes its way into the heart of the ship. Its warm glow spills over a long dining table and moves on to touch other corners. The learning centre, where children study diagrams of planets, the quiet bay where instruments hum, the bench where someone sketches the morning's experiments. In every one of these little spaces, a few hands reach out to feel the gentle light, an energy born not of a sun, but of the vessel's own cycles. Slowly, all the dark corners of this grand metal ship are bright again. And it is in this softly lit world that the day truly begins for everyone aboard. Beyond these green walls, in the perfect stillness of space, rhythms of life continue on. As the corridors narrow and give way to space filled with light, the temperature shifts subtly, warm and humid. We have arrived at the ship's green heart, the hydroponic gardens suspended at the center of the vessel. Here, under a canopy of artificial sky, gentle water cascades through the roots of plants, wrapped in glossy green leaves. Everywhere is the scent of earth and the distant tang of citrus blossoms. A low mist clings to a flight of delicate ferns, and the soft drip of water is heard in the background. Crew members move carefully among the rows of flora, hands brushing over leaves to check their health. In this quiet sanctuary, voices are softer, steps slower. Some pause to trace the veins of a leaf with a finger, as if listening to its silent story. A botanist in a white coat smiles when a tomato vine curls around her arm. She picks a bright red fruit and holds it momentarily against the warm light. The fruit is perfectly ripe, its aroma rich and familiar. She takes a small bite and closes her eyes, savoring the taste. A little sunshine captured in a distant vessel. Around her, colleagues carry baskets waiting to be filled, each thankful that here at the journey's heart, life grows so freely. The greenhouse is divided into sections, one area dedicated to food crops like lettuce, tomatoes, and sweet potatoes, another corner for fragrant herbs and medicinal plants arranged in neat trays. Even a small citrus tree, once but a cutting given to them, now bears little oranges that glow in the gentle light. Each plant has a purpose. Some supply vitamins and flavor to the crew's meals, others freshen the air they breathe. But here among the stems and stalks, there is something more at work, a reassurance that life endures. It doesn't matter that the ground they came from is light years away. The simple green companionship of this place heals hearts that look up at a sky with no sun, reminding all that even here, hope can sprout from a seed. Light in the greenhouse is soothing and constant. Panels overhead cast a golden white glow, simulating midday sun around the clock. A quiet day can feel like an endless afternoon in here. The plants bask year-round, and occasional breezes are released through hidden vents so the leaves can sway gently as if under an earth sky. The air circulates softly, filled with oxygen and the promise of dew that never actually falls. Crew members come here to think, to plan, even to dream. Some sit for a while on a bench surrounded by ivies, finishing the last warm sip of an herbal tea brewed from their own mint. The tension of life outside seems to melt away among these vines. Children grow up with this garden as their first playground. A toddler giggles while ducking under the cornstalks that stand tall above him. His mother kneels nearby with a tray of seedlings, showing him how to plant a tiny flower bulb in water, the roots slowly spreading like silver threads. These are not textbook experiments on Earth. They are childhood adventures in space. The boy's laughter mixes with the low hum of life support, a reminder that even on an endless voyage, innocence flourishes. Soon he toddles toward a vine hanging low, reaching up to pat one of its leaves, as if greeting an old friend. As dusk would fall on Earth, the greenhouse remains softly lit, time having little meaning here. A couple of crew members sit on a bench under a leafy arch, sharing tea brewed from the garden's own herbs. One lifts his cup to his lips, and a tiny drop escapes, falling onto a moss mat below. The green carpet welcomes it gratefully. He smiles, savouring not only the sweet taste, but the moment itself, for the warmth, for the taste of home, for this fragile oasis in the void. Here in this living chamber, the lines between outside and inside blur. Through a circular viewport, thick vines frame the stars beyond, as if the garden were set against an eternal night sky. Though metal walls and systems surround them, for a few hours this place is as free and wild as any glade on earth. Each leaf and bud is proof of endurance, reminders of why the voyage continues. Many of the plants came from Earth as tiny packages. One crew member softly remembers receiving a small seed packet from his grandmother. It contained wildflower seeds from a meadow he once loved. Now he gently presses a single seed into the soil, honouring that memory. An elder teacher aboard often says that with every seed they plant, a piece of Earth's past is reborn in space. By sharing these origins with the community, the crew keeps their culture alive among the vines. Celebrations in this floating world often happen here, among the greenery. Instead of cutting cakes, they plant seeds. On birthdays, someone ties a ribbon around a new sapling and makes a wish for its growth. When a young girl loses her first tooth, she carefully places it in a pot of basil as an offering for good luck. These small rituals might seem mundane, but they weave Earth's magic into this new home. Under this artificial sky, such gestures feel almost sacred, a whispered promise that life will continue in many forms, no matter where they are. In the quiet of evening, the time seems to stand still. A soft, warm haze filters through hanging vines, and a delicate floral melody of night blossoms drifts faintly through the air. Little mechanical drones, tiny pollinators, flit lazily from flower to flower. They have wings like dragonflies and glow dimly. Each carries pollen as it dances among blossoms. This gentle hum of their wings feels like an affirmation of harmony. Technology and nature working as one, so that under alien skies these plants may bloom. Every corner of this green haven has its caretakers. One scientist checks nutrient levels in a series of ferns, marveling at how they have doubled in size since the voyage began. Another crew member records the blossoming of a rare orchid, amazed that its crimson petals, velvet soft to the eye, can open under a star-sung sky. All around, hands that missed soil on earth lovingly tend this garden. To them, each touch is a quiet prayer for growth. At midday, the garden's gentle hum is occasionally broken by quiet laughter. A group of engineers sits cross-legged on the padded floor among the roots of a banana tree, listening to an old Earth story about a great forest. They pass around a ripe banana, admiring how golden it looks in the light. One of them peels it, and each takes a tender bite. In this moment, it is as though they have returned to a familiar campsite beneath trees. The ship's walls fade away. They share tales of forests they once knew, giant oak trees in autumn, songs of birds at dawn, and in each wistful smile there is gratitude for life in this tiny forest of stars. On one wall of the greenhouse, a mosaic of framed photographs reminds everyone of the heritage they carry. There are pictures of farmers on Earth planting crops, of schoolchildren watering their first plants, of ancestors proudly holding up their harvests. Crew members sometimes come here to lay a hand on the glass, feeling the connection to those past lives. They speak softly to the plants as they water them, murmuring names of cities and mountains from home. In doing so, they plant their own stories alongside these living ambassadors, blending heritage with hope. Even as nighttime deepens elsewhere, the garden stays softly alive. Gentle nightlights come up in the ceiling, bathing the leaves in a bluish glow, as if moonlight were filtering in. In these hours, the greenhouse turns magical. Shadows shift slowly across petals, and if one listens closely, the leaves seem to rustle back, as if saying goodnight. It is under this gentle watch that the day's last harvest is collected into baskets. Each crew member handles the produce with a reverent smile, as though cradling the very essence of home. With the harvest complete, they step back out of the greenhouse's warmth. The corridor air feels cooler against their skin, but the soft comfort of the garden travels with them. In that simple exit, each person carries a small but vital part of this world, a leafy bundle of greens, an armful of herbs that will sustain them for the hours ahead. They are mindful now that somewhere deep within this ship, a garden thrives and breathes, quietly keeping them alive among the stars. Even after dinner, the greenhouse is visited by a few who linger under its glow. A botanist drifts back in to check on a tall tomato vine one more time, softly humming an earth tune. She notices a tiny green fruit swaying and imagines it as a distant star she once wished upon. Nearby, a gentle mist begins its night cycle, fine droplets settling on the leaves like dew. Under a cooler lamp simulating moonlight, another crew member inhales the scent of a night-blooming jasmine, its white flower unfurling. The aroma is sweet and calming. She closes her eyes, transported for a moment to summer nights on Earth. The plants themselves follow subtle rhythms. Sunflower heads tilt toward the remaining warmth, as if seeking a last kiss. Ferns curl in on themselves as if tucking into bed. Even the pumps slow their steady rhythm to a gentle lull. At last, a quiet click sounds as the greenhouse door slides shut. Inside, life support softly circulates air and water through the roots for the dark hours, though the rest of the ship holds its breath in silence. This living chamber does not sleep so easily. It carries on, each leaf and petal participating in the endless cycle of life among the stars. After tending to the garden's embrace, the crew emerges to find the ship in full rhythm. Doors slide open automatically for them, gentle breezes of recycled air escorting their steps. In these corridors, every hour has its quiet purpose. The ship's schedule is a gentle heartbeat that guides them. Times to rest, times to work, times to come together in communal space. They move with that rhythm as naturally as one would drift through ocean tides, each action measured and mindful of the human symphony they are part of. In the science labs, one researcher stands before a translucent control panel. She adjusts a cycle of nutrient flow for the plants, attuned to the ones she nurtured at dawn. Nearby, a physicist gazes out a viewport while calibrating a telescope aimed at a distant nebula. The stillness of space beyond does not hurry their work. It grounds them instead. This is their normal day: experiments, maintenance checks, creative pursuits. There are no alarms sounding here, only the soft certainty of routine that allows each person to breathe easily. Down the hall, a quiet lunch bell sounds, a reminder that it is time to eat and commune once more. Families and co-workers assemble in the mess hall. Plates are passed and conversations begin, not with the clatter of a busy city, but with gentle voices that ebb and flow. The meal often includes the vegetables grown in the greenhouse, hearty soup, and fresh bread from ovens, perhaps a final piece of fruit from a distant storage locker. People smile as they share gratitude for each bite. This time together is an unhurried conversation of friendship and care. Afterward, the afternoon continues with its duties. Some crew head off to maintenance tasks or ongoing experiments. Others take advantage of the ship's resource library or workshop. For example, a geologist studies a chunk of asteroid stone pulled from storage, mapping its composition by tablet. A cook in the kitchen experiment with a new spice blend, taking care to document each measure. Through it all, there is an undercurrent of creativity. At every table or station, someone might jot down ideas or sketch a circuit layout. Meanwhile, one researcher quietly opens a voluminous logbook to add a personal note, despite the meticulous digital records already kept. She writes in careful script, "Day 742. We harvested crimson peppers this morning. They tasted of sun and life. At noon, Marina showed me a sketch she drew of the old citrus orchard back home. Evening passed in quiet reflection. We are all grateful for another safe sunrise aboard." Such journaling is more ritual than necessity, a moment taken not for duty, but for memory. After the meal and paperwork, a group of children drifting by the dining area heads off to their afternoon classes. In the learning center, lessons cover mathematics, history, and even the lore of constellations. A teacher projects images of Earth's landscapes, of animals and ancient explorers, onto a drifting screen. When the kids glance out the window, the inky blackness dotted with stars becomes part of their lesson. Tonight, for example, a teacher points out the constellation Orion above and tells how Earth's ancestors imagined a great hunter there. The children follow, half imagining they see Orion's belt in the starfield right outside. Education here links their tiny world to the big one beyond. Throughout the afternoon, the ship becomes a space for gentle creativity and connection. In a corner lounge, one crew member quietly strums an acoustic guitar, letting soft chords drift through the room like a lullaby. Another sits nearby, sketching the curved horizon of a gas giant on paper by flashlight. A small group gathers around a table with a magnetic board game. Pieces move slowly from hand to hand as they take turns. They play in silence or with only whispering commentary, each move a calm ritual. The peaceful quiet of these pastimes echoes the unhurried rhythm that defines life aboard. Later in the day, many pause for a light break. An aroma of fresh tea and herbs spreads through the lounge. A parent shares a pot of mint tea brewed from yesterday's harvest. Warm mugs pass from hand to hand. They speak softly about the upcoming day, or share a funny memory from that morning. Laughter arises as a pleasant ripple across the table. Around them, the ambient lights are steadily dimming. But here, a small cluster of friends keeps them glowing a little longer as they savor these final moments of daylight. Dinner time arrives with no fanfare other than our own unwinding. Plates of steaming stew, bread, and roasted vegetables appear. It's a simple meal, but the produce comes from their own gardens, and every bite tastes of pride and home. The crew gathers again, some in the lounge near the flowers and vines as sunlight fades, others around the central table. They pass bowls of the stew around, letting everyone serve themselves. The mechanical hum of the ship dims down as if to listen to their stories. They talk quietly about how the day went, about the children's plans for play, even about a joke from an Earth comedy program one of them found in the archives. Each voice rises and falls gently. No one interrupts because no one is in a hurry to finish. After dinner, The routine continues in its calm flow. Some tidy the kitchen, loading dishes into silent cleaners as someone else sweeps with a gentle robotic broom. Others might tuck a child into a bed-shaped sleeping bag in their cabin, whispering a last goodnight. In one area, a small prayer or meditation session takes place under the soft starlights. A row of crew sit with eyes closed, sharing peaceful breathing for a few minutes. In every action, placing a dish on a counter, unrolling a map for tomorrow's route, even quietly closing a cabinet, there is a mindfulness born of this steady life. As evening reaches its deepest hush, the ship begins its slow nighttime transition. Overhead panels gradually shift to soft purples and blues. It is a signal. Time to wind down. The clatter of equipment and voices fades into a murmur. Even the ventilation slows to a whisper. The metal around them seems to exhale. Crew members feel a gentle tiredness, welcoming this change of pace. In the silence, their hearts and minds have space to rest before sleep. The liturgies of day have brought them here, to night's peaceful interlude. In the calm of late night, the corridors are nearly empty. The hum of life support cycles on in the background, but it is soft. The nurse on duty might do one last sweep of cabin doors, smiling at the sleeping families she greets with a nod. Someone in the med bay quietly checks heart rate monitors, ensuring even breaths continue. The navigation console on deck remains on, showing stars drifting overhead, but the officers are gone. They too have retired for the night. Up here, in the sleeping quarters or hammocks, each member of the crew is already floating between wakefulness and dreams. Through weeks and months, these patterns will repeat. Every cycle of activity and rest gives them strength. They grow as attuned to the ship's rhythms as they once were to the sunrise on Earth. Solitude and togetherness alternate like gentle waves on a calm lake. Work followed by laughter, writing followed by silence. All follow one another in perfect order. The predictability of life in space, the steady cadence of tasks and quiet, is itself a gift. It means that even if something unexpected comes, they know how to pause, how to breathe, how to return to balance. It is as though the cosmos itself is softly nodding them through each phase of this voyage. Time itself becomes measured in these cycles. Lunar and solar have meaning only in memory. Instead, a calendar is born of rotations and rotations. Each spin of the vessel feels as natural as an old lullaby. Anniversaries of launch, of first harvests, of long ago farewells on Earth. Each is quietly honoured. Perhaps a candle is lit in the lounge to mark one more orbit completed, made from recycled wax. The steady drum of life aboard this vessel becomes the only time they know, replacing dawns and dusks lost in space. At last, as one cycle closes, the ship's communal lounge settles into a gentle hush. Here, under the vast projection of stars on the ceiling, a senior crew member often rises to share an old legend. Tonight, it is her turn. She begins softly, voice low, yet carrying comfort. A tale of Earth from long before, of rivers and forests far behind them. Others listen, faces illuminated by the dim light. For a moment, nothing else exists but the story and the stars above. An unbroken chain connecting who they were to who they are becoming. And as the last echoes of her voice fade, the gathered crew carry that story with them into the night, ready for the new tales the stars may inspire. Under the dim glow of the ship's nightlights, families gather once more in the common lounge. Pillows and blankets are brought out, and a soft star map is projected above them. The atmosphere is hushed and expectant, as if the ceiling itself has become an endless night sky. Children lie on their backs, eyes wide, staring up at the constellations mapped on the panel. Adults settle around them, forming a protective circle. For a few minutes they are all weightless in wonder, as if drifting on a cloud of quiet magic. Above, the projected stars flicker gently, mimicking the real cosmos. Even the ship's ambient lights fade further, leaving only those pale pinpricks of projected stars. The hush is almost sacred, as though the voyage itself pauses to listen. One older crew member begins the night's tales. She speaks in a gentle voice, telling the legend of the Mother and the Moon from an ancient culture on Earth. In her words, a woman climbs to the heavens to calm the restless moon, weaving patterns of light with her laughter. As she narrates, children watch the projected stars and try to trace the story in the flickering constellations. The listeners lean in whenever her voice rises at an exciting turn, and melt back into serenity when it softens. Each sentence is like a lullaby, wrapping the group in comfort. Occasionally, a younger child snuggles deeper into a parent's shoulder, lulled by the rhythm. Outside the ship, the real sky is full of distant galaxies, but inside, all is still, except for her voice. This story builds a little safe world for them, a gentle reminder of home under alien skies. Nearby, a father whispers to his son the tale of two star voyagers from Earth. In this story, a brother and sister once flew away in hot air balloons, each carrying a lantern to light their path. They had always gazed at the night sky from Earth, dreaming of adventure. So on a clear evening, they tied seeds from their garden to their baskets and let their lanterns guide them upward. They drifted among the planets, planting seeds of hope on every world they passed. A sunflower by an alien stream, an orange tree on a barren plain. By morning, their balloons had sailed through the Milky Way, and below the girl could see tiny green patches glowing on countless orbs. The boy closes his eyes, imagining the siblings sailing through the stars. In his mind, every twinkle becomes one of those lanterns, winking down at him from far away. The soft cadence of his father's voice carries him gently towards sleep, and he smiles to himself at the promise that the voyagers will one day guide these seeds to bloom under distant suns. A young engineer, quiet after a long day of tasks, adds her own creation to the night's tapestry. She describes a mythical garden in the sky, inspired by the one they walked through today. In her tale, this celestial garden has floating rivers of light and trees that sing when brushed by a breeze. Lantern flowers bloom only at night. Their petals glow with a soft blue fire. It is tended by ancient spirits of Earth, who themselves travelled beyond the stars to plant it. The room grows silent around her, save for the hum of the ship's systems. When she finishes, even the adults feel as if they have walked through that dream too. She smiles softly, pleased that the garden in her words lives on in their minds as they tuck another piece of Earth lore into their sleep. At intervals, one of the older children pipes up and asks, pointing at a bright dot on the ceiling, "What does that star shine for?" A historian on board smiles and answers softly, "That one is for the bravest sailors who chart new paths. It burns bright, so they never feel lost." From that thread, another tale unfolds. this time about explorers who once navigated by stars across vast oceans. The historian's voice weaves the next legend into the night, and soon another old crew member quietly begins to hum the old navigation chant her own ancestors used. Their voices ripple through the lounge, humming and sharing, creating a gentle lullaby of humanity's wanderlust. By the end of this story, a soft excitement has settled over the group. Even the little child tugs again at his father's sleeve, understanding now that beneath every sky, on any sea, those stars have always been their guides. A lull descends as most children's eyes grow heavy. The projector dims slightly, mimicking moonrise, and some tuck the little ones under their arms. One by one, blankies are pulled up to chins, and soft breathing replaces the questions and whispers. The adults remain, quietly retelling their favourite Earth legends to each other in hushed tones. Perhaps a story of a mountain that walked to meet the sea, or a farmer who talked to the stars. Each narrative is as varied as the cultures they came from. But here, under this ship's artificial sky, they all find common meaning. In this gentle silence, each storyteller listens as much as they speak, and even these quiet exchanges become part of the night's slow rhythm. Above them, the ceiling holds the reflected glow of galaxies. Below them, the ship hums a soft lullaby. Together, through myth and memory, they weave another thread of wonder to carry each soul into the night. Through a hatch at the back of the lounge, the faint light of real stars can be glimpsed. Occasionally, a crew member steps outside, cradling a sleeping child in their arms, to gaze up under the greenhouse porch. There, under a shielded clear dome, the true Milky Way streaks the night sky with silver. The family pauses to watch for a heartbeat, breathing in the cool, filtered air. A meteor briefly trails above, causing them to gasp and smile in the dim light. Each falling star becomes part of their tale, the hushed wonder of the universe visible as a moving spark. A parent hums a lullaby from childhood, and the child presses sleepily closer, feeling the gentle watch of the cosmos on them. It is a quiet vigil, a private ending to the day. Out there, beyond the ship, the universe holds stories older than all of them, and tonight they are sharing in them. As the night deepens, the stories begin to wind down. Even the projected constellations shift slowly to show it is late. One storyteller closes her book with a whisper. "And tomorrow we will sail on," she says, not as a command, but as a gentle reminder of the journey that still lies ahead. The listeners murmur in agreement, though they drift in and out of sleep, puzzling at the phrasing. Perhaps the words are meant for their dreams. In the hush that follows, a sense of quiet wonder drifts through the room, soft as cosmic dust. Outside the lounge, the ship's systems continue their steady heartbeat, but inside, all movement has stilled. Eyes are heavy, breaths even. Only the memory of tales and stars remains. By this time, each heart is a quiet repository of wonder. The crew disperses to their cabins with minds heavy with images of myth and memory. The children carry new dreams of moon mothers and star voyagers. The adults carry the wisdom of earthbound legends whispered beneath artificial constellations. Above them, beyond the ship's hull, the silent cosmos watches on. Each flicker of distant starlight is a reminder that their stories are part of something vast. The night is far from over. In fact, for the stars it has just begun. And still, the voyage continues onward, gently leading them to the next dawn yet to come. At last, the moment arrived. Engines ignited, and the great vessel lifted off the ground. Slowly at first, then with steady power, it rose through the pale morning light. For a few long seconds, the trembling of raw thrust sat heavy in their stomachs. Onlookers at the base held their breath, watching as the rocket ascended. Behind, dense clouds parted before the roaring ascent. The noise of the launch was thunderous, yet it never reached the solitude of the ship. Inside, all they felt was a gentle mounting pressure. Then, all at once, the roar of the engines faded and was replaced by a gentle hush in the upper atmosphere. All around them, the sky slowly deepened from bright blue into a velvety black. Behind, Earth's blue and green marble receded into the distance, growing ever smaller. City lights glimmered briefly on the night side, before fading under the sunrise creeping up on the day side. A few on board gazed at the image of their home through small windows, hearts full of both hope and quiet wonder. All eyes lingered on that distant sphere, once full of life, now slipping into the void. A solemn joy settled across the crew. They all knew. There was no turning back now. No words were spoken. This moment spoke for all. The silence grew deeper with each passing mile, pierced only by the faint hum of the ship's life support systems. Beyond the thin veil of our atmosphere, the ship stabilized into orbit around Earth. Through the cabin windows, the curvature of the planet glowed against the endless black. Soft lights blinked on instrument panels as systems engaged. Inside, the crew settled into gentle weightlessness. Floating peacefully, they began their long watch under the silent stars. Behind them, a small world of its own unfolded inside the ship, living quarters and hydroponic farms. For a brief orbit, Earth below offered comfort. They could see swirling storm fronts and the glow of distant cities, a world of weather and life. The sun peaked above the curved horizon, bathing the cabin in a tranquil light. All at once, the blues and greens of the planet felt like a comforting blanket underfoot. Each breath came easy in the recycled air. They knew the journey had only just begun, yet in that moment, earthbound worries felt a world away. Quiet reflected across them like moonlight on a calm ocean. Down below, faint city lights winked out as dawn swept across the continents. For a brief moment, the world below was a silent companion to their fate. Their gaze lingered, drawn to Earth's fading beauty. Soon, it would turn toward the galaxy ahead. The final checkouts were complete. Engines burned steadily, pulling the ship away from Earth and its gravity. The once familiar blue planet slowly receded into the distance, a radiant jewel behind them. The moon, once so near, now glowed a pale silver orb behind the vanishing horizon of Earth. The endless black of space spread before the crew, dotted with distant pinpricks of light. The day's pale clouds and ocean swirls gave way to the faint glow of a faraway sun. Each passing hour took them farther from everything they had ever known. Inside the ship, conversations fell to whispers and sometimes ceased altogether. In those quiet moments, a profound stillness settled over all. They drifted on, carried only by the invisible pull of engines now coasting. Outside, the sun's light glinted off the solar panels, a quiet reminder of home. Communication with Earth became a dim, delayed echo, a lifeline stretched thin across the void. Messages took hours to cross the distance, and answers even longer. But each word carried the warmth of familiar voices, and for now, they were enough. Beyond the windows, the stars seemed new. Even familiar constellations had shifted with the ship's motion, as if the night sky were rearranging itself. Faint meteor streaks occasionally lit the darkness, reminders that even here, tiny fragments of cosmic dust journeyed through silent space. Weeks slid by in steady rhythms. Day and night blurred aboard the vessel, marked only by shifting artificial lights. The crew moved with practiced ease through hushed corridors. Some peered into small hydroponic chambers where hardy green plants fought back against the emptiness. The greenery was a gift from Earth, a reminder of home's gentle life. A quiet morning began each day with the hum of recycling filters and automated systems. A voice crackled over the comm, reading a brief welcome message from Earth. In response, one crew member would smile, wavering as distance stretched. Another poured coffee, the warm scent rising through the recycled air. The routine was comforting, familiar, a tiny island of normalcy in endless space. As the vacuum of space stretched on, the ship transitioned to the next phase of life. Beyond Earth's orbit, artificial gravity was engaged in the living quarters. Slowly, the living ring began to spin. Within its circular halls, the crew felt the familiar pressure under their feet once again. This gentle centripetal force was soft enough to allow easy movement, yet strong enough to remind them of home. Now children born on board learned to walk along the outer corridor, as if on a distant playground. Scientists in maintenance decks found their legs steady under them for the first time since departure. Simple tasks, like pouring a cup of water, became familiar again. Laughter and conversation filled the dining halls, just as they once had around earthly tables. Beyond work, the crew wove threads of home into life aboard the ship. They sang songs from Earth's old traditions, and some composed new melodies inspired by the eternal night. Children learned letters by tracing star shapes in the soft glow of instrument panels. When someone took out a small musical instrument, a guitar, a simple drum, others gathered around and shared stories or gentle laughter. They even held small festivals on the ship's anniversary of departure, decorating the corridors with paper stars and flags crafted from spare fabric. These rituals were quiet, intimate, a way of remembering who they were even as they became something new. In their limited world, humanity's spirit still found ways to bloom. In the quiet hum of space, personal thoughts blossomed. One by one, crew members found themselves lost in memories or dreams. An engineer floated near a small folder of photographs pinned to a bulkhead. A sunlit park, a smiling child, faraway family gatherings. He lingered on each image, feeling warmth and longing. All around the ship, such mementos sparked reflection. Conversations dwindled as solitude deepened. A musician softly strummed a guitar in a corridor, each note a gentle thread in the silence. In the hush, each person became a lone island of contemplation, wondering what future awaited them. The vast emptiness outside felt like a mirror, reflecting fears and hopes alike. Even as years of training guided the mission forward, their hearts drifted among stars of nostalgia. Beneath the quiet routine, the ship carried treasures of Earth into the darkness. Hidden in its belly was a compendium of our world, an electronic library of voices, music, art, and science. For decades, people back home worked on this archive, gathering lullabies and epic symphonies, poems and prayers, photos of children and wildflower fields. Each bite was chosen with care: a mother's lullaby, the laughter of children, the logic of science, the art of cultures now alien. More than 1,000 lifetimes of knowledge were locked in solid-state memory, encoded patiently to last across the centuries. These were our ambassadors, more enduring than any golden disc of old. Should anyone or anything ever find them, a piece of our home would still speak out among the stars. Sometimes, crew members allowed themselves to imagine distant listeners somewhere in the void, hearing a child's laughter or a new mother's lullaby. For the crew, each recording was a hope, a whispered prayer cast into the cosmic sea, that our story might one day reach beyond the void. Time passed, and the great giants of our solar system slowly receded into history. The ship's sensors once recorded the sight of Jupiter's vast orange and white bands, and Saturn's delicate rings. They were far off now, but memories of those planets lingered like faded photographs. In the control room, some drew lines connecting constellations on star charts. Others scanned images of the stormy red eye of Jupiter with quiet reverence. Guardians of a bygone era of exploration, those worlds watched as the ship ventured farther into the unknown. Even the distant sun was just another point of light now, a warm memory that touched the crew each time its rays slipped through the portholes. New generations were born into this silent odyssey. Each child grew up not under an Earth sun, but beneath the glow of distant stars through thick glass. For them, the ship was everything they knew. Parents told stories of Earth and hope, sunrises over mountains, the laughter of oceans, the feel of wind, now almost mythical. Some elders even sang old lullabies they learned from their own parents, a gentle tie to a world beyond memory. They dreamed not of running through meadow grass, but of finding solid ground on some distant shore. In their eyes, duty and destiny became intertwined. They studied the ship's systems as their ancestors once ploughed fields. Without Earth's horizon, their purpose was clear: to carry humanity's flame into the vast black. Yet always, they kept their gaze turned toward one distant point, the star they hoped would one day be their new sun. They spoke of it often, as if sharing a secret hope. Even through the quiet of space, that shining dot was their anchor, a promise of home across the abyss. Teachers pointed it out to the children during navigation lessons, planting seeds of confidence and curiosity. Each generation, from those born on Earth to those born in space, carried within them the story of that star. In their collective imagination, it burned with the warmth of a rising sun. With Earth now behind, the ship became its own world, guided by the stars above. Skilled navigators aboard used pulsars and distant galaxies as celestial lighthouses. Data from ancient observatories on Earth had catalogued these beacons, and here they were, at last, alive in the night. By measuring the timing of a pulsar's radio pulse, or the angle to a well-known nebula, the crew could pinpoint their place in the cosmos. Each measurement was a reassuring wink from home, a subtle confirmation that they were still on track. Their instruments traced the soft chorus of radio waves and X-ray pulses, turning the void into an echo chamber of guides. Sometimes, looking out the portholes, they even recognized familiar patterns of stars, constellations still named from Earth's age. Each minor course correction was logged meticulously, guided by tables of stellar motion, almost as old as humanity's first voyages to sea. The constellations overhead became steady companions on this long voyage, quiet friends in an unending night. It was as if ancient sailors' star maps had been revived for a voyage on cosmic oceans. Every drift was adjusted this way, keeping the journey steady toward the uncharted beyond. In interstellar space, even silence had a presence. Far from the sun's warmth, the faint glow of microwave light, the relic afterglow of cosmic origins, enveloped them. Floating in this vast emptiness, the crew occasionally listened to the deep hum of the ship's instruments, their only real link to the outside. Deep space sensors traced subtle disturbances, gas clouds drifting slowly by, waves of particles from distant supernovae. These phenomena were invisible to the eye, but the instruments revealed them as gentle pulses. For the crew, these cosmic murmurs were more curiosity than concern. In their calm cabins, life went on as if cradled by the stars themselves, soothed by the void outside. Days folded into months, and months into years, yet the rhythm of life aboard remained constant. In time, the taut longing to see a new world softened into a gentle anticipation. Each dawn in the ship was marked by quiet ritual, a small gathering for shared news, the scent of freshly brewed coffee, a soft hymn hummed between friends. In these moments, the ship became more home than home. The stars outside continued their silent dance, but inside the corridors, life carried on with tender warmth and resilient hope. Often, when the days felt long and the darkness pressing, the crew would find comfort in each other. An elderly engineer might join a young apprentice under the soft glow of a repair lamp, passing on a trick of the trade or a personal story. Children slept soundly through it all, the ship's gentle hum a cradle rocker for dreams. For them, the journey was life itself, and nowhere else had ever existed. At times, even starlight itself could feel like a companion. Sometimes a distant nova's flash, or the beam of a far-off pulsar would catch their eyes, a faint wink in the vastness. It reminded them that behind every darkness there might be a distant spark. These gentle cosmic echoes offered reassurance. Life would find a way, even in this emptiness. Their eyes remained fixed on the silent horizon. Though the ship itself drifted slowly through the void, their spirits carried the fire of a mission bright as any star. They knew the road ahead was long and still uncertain, but with each other, and with hope as their guide, they stepped boldly into the dark, ever onward, toward whatever lay ahead. Blackness without end. The stars no longer twinkle against any familiar sky. They surround us on all sides, remote and cold. The sun, once a constant companion, has diminished to a mere point of light far behind. We have slipped into the interstellar gulf, into a night deeper than any we have known. In this vast darkness between the stars, our spacecraft sails onward, a solitary spark moving through an infinite sea of shadow. Crossing the threshold of our solar system, we left behind the protective cocoon of the sun's influence. Out here, the solar wind fades, and the heliopause was crossed without fanfare. One moment, we were bathed in the last faint traces of particles from our sun, and the next, we emerged into the truly unbound medium of the galaxy. Beyond the edge of the heliosphere, we are now surrounded by particles and rays that originated from distant stars and ancient supernovae. It feels as though we have stepped over an invisible border into a realm where our sun's presence is just a memory. The interstellar void is not absolute emptiness. It carries the ghosts of stars. Wisps of atomic hydrogen, stray atoms of helium, and dust grains from long-dead suns drift here. So tenuous that a million such particles would barely fill a sip of air. Yet over the vast expanses, they form the subtle backdrop of space. Our ship's instruments occasionally register this faint haze of matter. It is the gentlest of breezes, an almost imperceptible whisper against the hull. In this darkness, even a few atoms per cubic centimetre become a reminder that we are never truly alone in the void. Cosmic rays traverse this emptiness too. High-energy particles, flung from stellar explosions eons ago. Within the sun's bubble, we were sheltered from many of them. But here, beyond that shelter, they pass through our vessel in greater numbers. Invisible and silent, they streak through the ship's metal and through the sleeping bodies aboard, like tiny messengers from distant catastrophes. We notice them only as faint clicks on our detectors, or perhaps the occasional flash of light behind closed eyes. They are part of the fabric of deep space, a subtle chorus in the background of silence. Our spacecraft drifts in this starless midnight, keeping its steady course. With the engines quiet for now, there is no roar of rockets, only the hush of a ship gliding through vacuum. Inside, the atmosphere is calm and still. Systems hum softly. The only evidence of motion is the slow change in starlight outside. The ship's navigation lights blink in the darkness, a tiny beacon of human ingenuity shining where sunlight no longer reaches. It is a lonely lantern moving through a boundless night. Occasionally, we glance back toward where our sun lies. It is nearly indistinguishable from the other stars now, a modest spark in a distant constellation, no longer the overwhelming beacon it once was. That familiar star that gave us life is now just one point among countless others. Its light takes more than a day to reach us, and the interval grows longer with each passing hour. To our eyes, it has blended into the glittering canvas of the Milky Way. We have truly left home behind, and with it, the last warmth of the sun's rays has faded. In that tiny point of light behind us lies everything we once knew. All of human history, every sunrise and sunset, every ocean and mountain, now compressed to a faint glimmer lost in the distance. It is a strange feeling to realize that our old world has become an almost invisible mote in the cosmic night. We carry the memory of that world within us, but we are too far now to see it or touch it. This realization settles quietly in our minds, bringing both a sense of melancholy and a profound sense of purpose. We have not come this far to turn back. We press on, guided by the dreams that pushed us into this great unknown. In the window, the Milky Way's band sprawls across the darkness, more magnificent than ever, without any interfering glow. Out here, far beyond city lights, or even planetary atmospheres, the galaxy reveals itself in dazzling detail. Thick star clusters and dark nebula rifts are visible to the naked eye from our ship's observation deck. Even distant galaxies, like the faint blur of Andromeda, reveal themselves to our instruments, a hazy island of light far beyond our own, reminding us that our journey, vast as it is, spans only a tiny corner of the cosmos. This river of stars is our only guide now, a constant reminder of both our insignificance and our connection to the vast cosmos. Each tiny light in that band is a sun, and we drift among them with awe and humility. The temperature of space around us is only a few degrees above absolute zero. Without sunlight, our vessel relies on its internal power to keep us warm. The hull creaks gently as it adjusts to the extreme cold of the interstellar night. Inside, however, it remains a habitable oasis. The life support systems form a small bubble of Earth-like environment against the frigid infinity outside. That contrast is striking. A few inches of metal and composite separate the cozy warmth of our cabins from a universe of unimaginable cold and silence. Time seems to slow in this deep darkness. With no day or night cycle, no rising or setting sun, our sense of time becomes abstract. We mark time by the ship's clocks and by the milestones of distance. 1 more billion kilometers behind us, another fraction of a light year achieved. But out here, such numbers lose their ordinary meaning. They become almost meditative, simply a measure of progress through the void. In the vast gulf between stars, the difference between a day, a month, a year, blurs into an endless now. This is the interstellar expanse that for generations existed only in theory and imagination. Now we move through it in reality, quietly and steadily. There is a gentle mystery to this space. It feels both desolate and exquisite. Desolate, because there is nothing familiar to cling to. No planets, no landmarks, only the distant stars. Exquisite, because in that nothingness, we sense the grand scale of our galaxy and our journey. We have entered a domain very few objects from Earth have ever touched. Only the silent Voyager and Pioneer probes before us, pale predecessors to how far we will go. We carry humanity's presence into a truly uncharted sea. As we press on into the interstellar dark, every minute takes us farther than any human has ever been. The knowledge of that distance wraps around us like the darkness itself. It is humbling and thrilling in equal measure. In this strange midnight, we come to appreciate the stark beauty of emptiness. With no distractions, we can contemplate the universe in its purest form, a quiet, endless ocean of stars and space. Our thoughts drift as the ship drifts, and a calm curiosity pervades everything. What wonders await ahead in this vast night? The answer lies somewhere in the distance, where a new sun quietly calls to us through the void. In these moments of profound isolation and wonder, we often reflect on the significance of our journey. For countless generations, our ancestors gazed at the night sky from Earth, feeling small under the eternal stars. Now we are out here among those stars, carrying the hopes of a world on our slender ship. We are aware that in the grand scale of the galaxy, we are as tiny as a mayfly in a vast forest. Yet our presence here is a testament to the human spirit. Across the emptiness, we have cast a thread of connection, a bridge from one star to another. This thought brings comfort. We may be few and far from home, but we are not lost. We are pathfinders, making the invisible highways between suns real, step by patient step. In this remote abyss, solitude becomes our quiet companion. There are no familiar voices beyond our walls, no signs of life outside our vessel. The silence is profound, broken only by the soft hum of our ship's systems. It is a different kind of silence than any on Earth, deeper, more absolute. Between the stars, there is simply no medium to carry sound. This silence, at first uncanny, has grown almost comforting, like a gentle hush that blankets our journey. We are a tiny crew far from home, and for long stretches, none of us are awake at the same time. Most of the voyage, we spend in a state of suspended animation, asleep in dreamless slumber to conserve resources and our own minds. The ship's AI and automated caretakers watch over us as we sleep. Only rarely does one crew member awaken to perform scheduled checks on the vessel and systems. In those moments, a single soul walks the silent corridors, the weight of loneliness tangible in the air. Imagine waking in a void where everyone else is motionless, time having slipped by while you dreamed. That is the reality of maintaining this voyage. When a lone crew member is awake, they sometimes stand at the observation window and gaze out at the endless night. With no one beside them and no Earth in sight, they find companionship in the stars themselves. Each distant sun glimmering outside is a tiny beacon, and in the solitude one can almost imagine they are speaking in their own way. Perhaps it's a trick of the mind, but in utter loneliness, even the faint starlight feels like a friend. The viewer might whisper a few words into the silence to no one in particular, just to hear a human voice, even if only their own, echo softly inside their helmet or the empty room. Communication with Earth has by now become exceedingly difficult and infrequent. The farther we travel, the longer it takes for any message to reach across the void. At this distance, a simple greeting to Earth will not be heard until years later, and any reply years after that. The exchange of words has stretched beyond the scale of a human conversation. By the time a response comes, those who first spoke might have aged or moved on. In all practical senses, we are alone out here. Still, we continue to send occasional signals homeward. Status updates, heartfelt messages cast into the darkness like bottles into a cosmic sea, hoping one day they find a receiver. There is solace in knowing that even if no immediate answer comes, our voices travel onward through the emptiness. The radio waves carrying our messages will continue to journey through space, long after we arrive at our destination. Perhaps in some far future, those signals might whisper past other worlds, a faint testament to our voyage and our hope. But in the here and now, the only immediate voices are our own on the ship. The crew, whether awake or in dreams, shares this solitude together, bound by a mission that transcends the vast distance between us and everyone we left behind. The psychological weight of such isolation was something we prepared for, but experiencing it is another matter. In training, we practiced mindfulness, contemplation, and methods to combat loneliness. Now, in the true expanse of interstellar space, those skills come into play. We find ourselves turning inward, reflecting on life, on humanity, on the meaning of home. Journals are kept, handwritten or recorded logs where crew members pour out thoughts during their solitary watch periods. In these entries, there is often a profound introspection, as deep and dark as the space outside, yet illuminated by flickers of hope and purpose. During one solitary watch, a crew member took out a small violin she had brought and played a melody into the emptiness. The gentle strains of a familiar lullaby drifted through the corridors, filling the void with something human and warm. In that moment, the music seemed to carry beyond the walls of the ship, as if it could reach the stars themselves. Such acts of creativity and remembrance kept our souls nourished. A poem scribbled in a notebook, a recorded message reciting a favourite story, a whispered prayer. These were our lanterns against the darkness. They reminded us that even when we felt utterly alone, we carried a spark of home within us, a spark we would one day bring to the new world. No explorer on Earth ever experienced solitude on this scale. Even the earliest ocean voyagers could look up at night and see the same moon that shone on their loved ones at home. Even the Apollo astronauts, 250,000 miles away, could glance back and see Earth hanging in the blackness. But our Earth is now invisible, lost in the glare of its distant sun. No comforting blue disk follows us in the sky. This is a solitude beyond any human precedent. It is as if we have become ghosts, moving between worlds, unseen and unheard by any others. And yet, within this solitude, we find a form of peace, removed from all the noise and bustle of civilization. There is clarity. The petty concerns of our former lives feel distant now, stripped away by the vastness around us. We are left with simple truths. We are alive. We have each other. If not always awake together, we still exist together on this ship. And we have a goal that gives us direction. That knowledge becomes a beacon in our hearts. It comforts us in the darkest moments when the isolation feels heavy. Each of us knows that although we are far from humanity, we carry humanity with us, in our memories, in our knowledge, in our very being. Sometimes, between long sleep cycles, 2 or more crew are awakened at once for brief periods. On those rare occasions, the ship's halls echo with quiet laughter or conversation. Sharing a meal under the artificial light of our galley, the crew savour each other's company in a way they never could have imagined back on Earth. Every spoken word, every smile carries weight and warmth. These interactions are short and infrequent, but they are treasured. They remind us that we are not truly alone, that camaraderie exists even in the void. Afterward, when the others return to stasis, that memory of connection lingers like the afterglow of a candle in a dark room. Outside the windows, nothing obvious changes for years at a time. The stars are so distant that our movement scarcely alters the constellations yet. The view is nearly static, a perpetual night sky that seems motionless. In such unvarying scenery, one learns to find detail in the subtle, the slight shift of a star's position after months, the barely perceptible change in the hue of the cosmic background. Our lives aboard settle into a rhythm with the solitude. Each day, as defined by our clocks, might include simple rituals, checking the ship's course, tending to any needed maintenance, exercising in the centrifugal habitat to keep our muscles healthy, then perhaps reading or listening to music in the quiet. These routines ground us, give structure to what would otherwise be a boundless stretch of time. We also find ourselves drawn to contemplation. Many hours are spent simply gazing out or thinking. Some meditate, floating weightless in a darkened chamber, imagining themselves merging with the stars outside. Others revisit old memories, playing recordings of Earth, the sound of rain, the chatter of a city, the songs of birds, to fill the silence for a time with comfortable nostalgia. In solitude, such recollections become incredibly vivid. The taste of familiar foods, the faces of loved ones, the feeling of sunlight on skin, all are relived in our minds with an almost dreamlike intensity. It is a way of coping, but also a way of appreciating what once was, even as we remain committed to what lies ahead. The loneliness also strengthens our resolve. Each quiet day that passes, each lonely vigil at the window, reinforces the importance of why we are doing this. We remind ourselves that across this emptiness, a new world is waiting. The solitude is the price of reaching it. Every hardship, every long silence, is a step toward that future. In a way, the void is testing us, tempering our spirits. And we endure, one moment at a time, knowing that the stars will not remain distant forever. Thus, between the stars, solitude is both our challenge and our teacher. It teaches us patience, resilience, and the ability to find meaning within ourselves. It shows us the beauty of companionship by its very absence, making each shared moment more precious. In the quiet of interstellar space, we learn that we carry within us an inner world rich with thoughts, dreams, and memories that can fill the silence. And so, even in utter solitude, we are not empty. Our minds and hearts keep us company, together with the faint light of distant suns. In this way, we live through the long, quiet stretches between here and there, growing in understanding of ourselves and this profound journey we are undertaking. Now and then, an awakened crew member would quietly visit the cryo chamber where the others slept. In the dim light, rows of stasis pods lined the walls, each holding a friend or colleague suspended in timeless rest. Inside these silent capsules, lights blinked softly, indicating heartbeats and life signs, a gentle pulse of green and gold LEDs. Standing among these silent companions, the lone watcher felt less truly alone. The gentle rise and fall of those indicators was like the breathing of the ship itself, evidence that others were there, just not conscious at the moment. It was a reminder that this solitude was temporary and shared in turns. In that still chamber, surrounded by slumbering voyagers, it was as if the hopes and dreams of humanity kept vigil with them. Time flows strangely out here. What feels like a short interval can in reality span months or years. With no sun rising and setting, the markers of time become abstract. We measure our progress by the calendar and the ever-increasing count of kilometers in our wake. Yet these numbers grow so large, they lose meaning in ordinary terms. 1 year turns into 5, 5 into 10. In the black quiet between stars, it is as though time itself has stretched out, unspooling slowly as we travel. Our voyage is measured not in days, but in decades, and each passing year is both a step closer to our new world and a chapter quietly closing behind us. The ship's crew experiences this passage of time in a unique way. For those in stasis, the years slip by unnoticed, like an instant between one breath and the next. They lie in dreamless sleep, their bodies aging hardly at all, suspended in a careful balance of life just above the threshold of freezing. To them, this journey may feel like a long night's sleep, from which they will wake to a new morning, orbiting an alien sun. In contrast, for any who remain conscious during portions of the journey, such as the rotating caretakers or the AI, time is an ocean to drift on. Days must be counted, routines maintained, and the slow accumulation of years is witnessed directly. Consider the caretaker who wakes once every few years to inspect the ship. To her, each awakening is separated by long stretches of nothingness, like blinking slowly and seeing the calendar jump forward by epochs. She may wake in what feels to her like the same season, but in reality, years have passed. Each time she opens her eyes, the stars outside have shifted just a little from where they were before. Perhaps a faint nebula that was once to starboard has moved aft, or a particular star is slightly brighter as we draw nearer to it. These subtle differences are the only clues that time has passed at all during her slumber. During the periods of wakefulness, crew members might write letters or video messages to loved ones on Earth, knowing those people could be much older, or even gone, by the time the messages arrive. It is an exercise in faith and nostalgia. One astronaut composed a birthday greeting to her son Each year she was awake, even though she realized he would celebrate those birthdays without her under Earth's sky, and perhaps under an alien sky by the time he saw them. Such messages become capsules of emotion, sent forward into a future the senders themselves will not witness. Yet making them is important. It keeps the connection to humanity alive, a reminder of why this journey matters. In their rare conscious moments, the crew also look forward, not just back. They record journal entries addressed to their future selves, to be read upon arrival. In these logs, they speculate about the new world. Imagine what it will look like or feel like. They talk about the first thing they want to do when they set foot on that planet. Perhaps scoop up a handful of alien soil, or take a breath of its air, or simply stand under an open sky and marvel at unfamiliar stars overhead. These dreams help pass the time. They turn the monotony of the voyage into an incubation period for hopes and plans. The ship itself marks the years diligently. Its central computer maintains several calendars, one tracing the mission elapsed time, another keeping Earth time, now so far ahead of us, and even a timeline for our destination planet based on its orbital period and rotation. These parallel timelines remind us how relative time can be. By Earth's calendar, many years have passed, and things at home have undoubtedly changed. By the ship's own count, we track how long we've been in transit. And then there is the local time of a world we have yet to see, an imagined clock for a life we have yet to live. It's as if we straddle three different eras: the past, Earth's time; the present, ship time; and the future, the new world's time. Sometimes we allow ourselves to wonder about Earth. How many years have passed there since we departed? Did those we bid farewell to achieve their own dreams? Did children we knew grow up? Did the old pass on? Perhaps by now, new generations have been born who only know of us as distant travellers in legends or history books. It is a strange thought that the world that launched us might itself be entirely transformed by the time we send back news of our success or failure. We left expecting that by the time we set foot on another Earth, the Earth we knew would be a memory. This was part of the sacrifice the pioneers accepted, to give up our present for the chance of a future for humanity elsewhere. These realizations could be heavy, but in the tranquil rhythm of our journey, they are often met with acceptance rather than sorrow. After all, this mission was always about the future, about a home that might outlive the one we left. Every sleeper aboard this ship carries the weight of that purpose in their long slumber. It turns the act of sleeping for decades from something unnatural into an act of faith. Faith that the universe holds another hospitable shore. Faith that all this time and distance will be worthwhile. Each crew member, in surrendering years of their own life to the mission, demonstrates a profound hope that beyond the interstellar void, there is a new dawn for our species. Even time itself has treated us differently on this voyage. By Einstein's laws of relativity, time aboard runs just a touch slower than it would back on Earth due to our immense velocity. By journey's end, our clocks will be slightly behind those on Earth. It's hardly noticeable to us, yet it is a poetic reminder that we have, in a sense, leapt forward in time. We will arrive having aged a little less than the universe around us. In effect, we are time travellers as well as spacefarers, stepping ever so gently into the future as we cross the stars. This subtle bending of time is one more thread in the tapestry of our journey, another way in which venturing so far has set us apart from all who stayed behind. Dreams play a significant role in this voyage, whether literal dreams in stasis or the figurative dreams that keep us motivated. While our stasis technology aims to keep the mind largely inactive, some crew have reported flickers of subconscious experience upon waking, fragmented dreams that visited them during years of sleep. One spoke of dreaming about endless oceans under unfamiliar skies. Another dreamt of walking through a forest where the leaves glowed with their own light. Perhaps these are just the mind's creative echoes, processing the enormity of our journey and the alien nature of our destination. Or perhaps they are manifestations of our deepest longings, blending memories of Earth with anticipations of the new planet. Even the AI that runs our ship could be said to dream in a way. During the long stretches of coasting, when minimal adjustments are needed, the AI runs simulations and projections. It imagines the arrival by calculating orbital insertions, landing sequences, and colony setups in advance. In its electronic brain, scenarios play out silently, failures and successes rehearsed countless times. It's a pragmatic form of dreaming. The AI dreaming of the mission's future steps to ensure it's prepared for anything. So, while the human crew dreams in their sleep, the ship itself dreams through computation, all of us collectively oriented toward what is to come. On board the ship, there are also more tangible dreams, hopes shared among the crew in brief moments of conversation during awakenings. They speak softly of what they miss and what they want to find on the new Earth. One misses the sound of rain and hopes the new world will have familiar showers and storms. Another dreams of open space and hopes for wide green plains under alien skies. Some dream more philosophically, that perhaps on this new world humanity can avoid the mistakes made on Earth, that we might build something better and kinder from the ground up. These quiet confessions bind the crew together, knitting a tapestry of aspirations that stretches across the gulf of years. Meanwhile, the physical voyage continues steadily. The ship's propulsion system, whether fusion engines or solar sails, or something even more advanced, did its major work in the early years, accelerating us to cruise speed. Now, for a long period, it coasts silently, letting momentum carry us across light years. Small thrusters fire occasionally to make course corrections, hardly noticeable unless one is watching a swaying pendulum or floating dust. This coasting phase can lull one into a sense that time has paused, that we are a fixed point and the universe moves around us. In reality, we hurtle onward at an immense velocity, but everything is relative in the emptiness. With no air rushing past, no scenery changing quickly, speed loses its meaning. We could be crawling or flying. Only the instruments tell us that we are in fact spanning billions of kilometers each year. Now and then, we cross an invisible milestone, a certain fraction of the journey completed, or a particular distance like 1 light year down. These moments are quietly noted by the computer, and sometimes celebrated in a subdued way by the crew if they are awake. Perhaps a recorded message is played to mark the occasion, or a small toast is made with rehydrated juice in the galley. There is no grand celebration, just a gentle acknowledgement. We have come this far. We will continue. Each of these milestones reminds us that even the longest journey is made of many small steps, and we are steadily making them. As the years pile up, the interior of the ship becomes a time capsule of our voyage. Items left on bulletin boards or stuck to walls show dates long past. Old mission updates, a calendar from the year of launch, photographs of families who have since grown older. They remain frozen in time here, while outside the universe moves forward. The effect can be jarring for those who awaken and walk the corridors. It's like stepping into a museum of the departure era. And in a sense it is, a preservation of the world we left, travelling with us even as time back home marches on. This floating museum of memories keeps our history close, even as we hurtle into the future. Through all these years, one thing remains constant: the vision of the new Earth ahead. It is the beacon that guides us through the long dark. Whenever weariness creeps into the heart, we remember that blue marble we hope to see, the new sky we will stand under. That image, half imagined, half based on scientific prediction, fuels us. In a very real sense, the dream of that world carries us more surely than any engine. It is the emotional propulsion that matches our physical propulsion, pushing us onward when the silence and the years weigh heavily. We picture ourselves walking on solid ground again, feeling gravity from a planet and wind that blows from an ocean we have never seen. These thoughts are bright sparks in the long night, sustaining us year after year. Thus, the voyage of years is not just a passage through space, but through our own minds and souls. We are changed by the journey, the long patience it requires, the surrender to time, teaches us a new perspective. We come to understand that our lives can extend beyond the immediate, that we are part of a continuum, stretching from the earth of our past to the world of our future. In that understanding, there is a quiet enlightenment. We left as explorers, and perhaps also as dreamers. As the years pass, we have become something more, perhaps pilgrims of a sort, bearing the seed of humanity across the emptiness, guided by faith in a world we have yet to see. In each dream-filled sleep and each reflective waking hour, we draw closer to that destiny, 1 year at a time. For a long time, our journey is wrapped in silence and routine. But eventually, something changes. A faint signal, a new presence making itself known. It begins subtly. The ship's sensors start to pick up an increase in a particular frequency of light coming from straight ahead. The distant star we've been headed toward, once just a pinprick among millions, is now slowly growing in brightness. It is still far, far away, but no longer beyond our perception. Our destination sun is whispering to us through its light, telling us that each day we draw closer. Long before we can see any planets, we sense the star's presence in other ways. Its gravity, though weak at our current distance, begins to exert a pull distinct from the sun we left behind. The navigational instruments note tiny deviations in our course that correspond to the tug of that distant mass. Like a mariner feeling the first hints of a coastal current after weeks on the open ocean, we feel the slight influence of a new shore ahead. It's an almost poetic sensation. After so much time in deep space, the spacecraft is gradually entering the realm of another star. We listen as well as look. The radio dish aboard our ship, usually tuned to the emptiness, now occasionally catches a whisper of static from the direction of the target star. Part of it is just natural radio emissions that all stars produce in small amounts. Our star-to-be is speaking in crackles and hums that our instruments translate into sound. We sometimes play these star sounds in the ship's cabin, a gentle hiss with faint rising and falling tones, like listening to the breathing of a giant creature in its sleep. It's a reminder that we are closing in on a living system, one with its own energy and activity. We also scan those frequencies for any pattern or pulse that might hint at an artificial voice amid the static. None does. The cosmos keeps its silence. There is also the cosmic background that has been with us all along, the ever-present faint hiss of the universe itself, the afterglow of the Big Bang that our equipment can detect as a uniform radio murmur. Amidst that backdrop, any distinct signal from our destination star stands out like a note in a quiet symphony. We filter out the cosmic background and solar interference, isolating the unique signature of the star ahead. Over time, that signal strengthens from a barely perceptible murmur to a clear tone. It's still quiet, but it's undeniably there, our new sun calling out across the darkness. This star's whispers are not just metaphorical. Years ago, back on Earth, it was a whisper in the data that revealed the existence of the very planet we seek. A delicate dip in the star's light, observed through telescopes, indicated a planet transiting across its face. Or a slight wobble in the star's spectrum betrayed the gravitational pull of an orbiting world. Those subtle signals, tiny fluctuations occurring over days or months, were the clues that led humanity to set its hopes on this distant point of light. In a sense, we listened to the star, and it told us, in its quiet language of light and gravity, that a new Earth might be there. As we approach, we become the listeners once more. We carry advanced instruments designed to sniff out any hint of what awaits us. Even from many billions of kilometers out, we begin aiming our onboard telescopes and spectrometers at the star system ahead. We search for the faint silhouette of that promised planet as it passes in front of its sun, trying to catch a transit from our changing vantage point. We study the starlight for telltale signs, the chemical fingerprints that might indicate an atmosphere like Earth's on that world, the presence of water vapor, maybe even oxygen. Each piece of data is a quiet whisper from the planet itself, hinting at conditions we yearn to confirm. Bit by bit, those whispers form a picture. The data suggests the planet has a breathable atmosphere, at least in theory, perhaps an indication of oxygen and nitrogen, the combination we know so well. We detect what could be clouds, inferred from slight variations in the starlight or thermal signatures. There are hints of liquid water, maybe oceans, gleaned from the way the planet's silhouette interacts with starlight during a transit. These findings come slowly and subtly, but they stir excitement among the crew. In hushed voices, still many months or years out, they discuss the possibility. It truly might be another Earth. All those faint whispers from afar are aligning with our hopes. These revelations electrify the atmosphere on our ship in a gentle way. After so many years of uncertainty and blind faith, we finally have confirmation that our destination holds real promise. The knowledge that a breathable sky and open water may await us is like an infusion of new energy. In the quiet galley and the dim-lit observation deck, crewmates exchange hopeful grins and heartfelt remarks. There is a palpable sense of relief that perhaps we were right all along. The long night through the void has not been in vain. With each new whisper from that distant planet, the dream that carried us here inches closer to reality, and our hearts, long tempered by patience, begin to swell with anticipation. The star itself, once a distant beacon, now commands more of our sky. Looking ahead out of the forward viewport, one can pick out which point of light is our target without needing instruments. It's the one that doesn't twinkle like the rest. It shines with a steady, growing luminance. It has even taken on a slight disk shape when magnified, no longer a dimensionless spark. We know that when stars begin to show a disk, we are nearing them within light months rather than light years. This realization sends ripples of anticipation through us. We are not just drifting in anonymous space anymore. We are clearly on approach to a star's doorstep. There is a quiet milestone we mark during this approach. The moment our destination sun outshines every other star in the firmament. From our vantage, it grows to become the brightest point in the cosmos, a clear beacon ahead. Stars that once guided us now pale in comparison. This distant sun, unknown to human eyes throughout all of history until now, takes center stage in our sky. Its steady radiance seems almost to beckon us forward. In that glow, we feel a guiding presence, as though the universe itself is encouraging our journey's final leg. With the star's increased brightness, even the color of the light reaching us can be discerned. Our new sun is a warm golden hue, much like the sun of our home, but with its own spectral fingerprint that paints the darkness with a subtly different tint. Some evenings aboard the ship, if we can call them evenings by our artificial lights, we dim the interior and let the forward panels stay transparent, allowing that star's light to shine in. It is faint still, no brighter than a distant moon, but it is distinct from the light of all other stars. It has a color and quality that feels welcoming, hinting at the daylight it will one day provide us on the surface of its planet. As the star grows nearer, we also watch for any other secrets it might share. Are there other planets in this system? Perhaps gas giants farther out, or smaller rocky siblings? The gravitational whisper of those might tug at our ship slightly, or alter the timing of the main planet's orbit in ways we could detect. We remain alert, ears metaphorically pressed to the void for anything unexpected. Thus far, all seems as predicted. No surprises to jostle our trajectory or plans. The star is quietly tending its family of worlds, and we are coming to join that celestial family as visitors, and soon, we hope, residents. There is a time in our approach when we pass a subtle threshold, the halfway point in terms of light. The light from our destination star now is fresher than the light from our origin. In other words, the star ahead's light reaching us left it more recently than the sunlight now reaching us left our sun. It's a poetic milestone. We have, in a sense, entered the sphere of influence of the new sun's radiance. Its photons greet our ship more promptly than those from home. This boundary is invisible, but the crew marks it quietly. We recognize that one star's influence has begun to overtake another in our lives. From here onward, the new sun's whispers will grow into a voice, while our old sun's influence fades gently into the background. Indeed, if we aim our communications dish now towards Earth, we find the signals weaker and more delayed than ever. At the same time, signals aimed at us from Earth, perhaps occasional status checks, or just symbolic broadcasts of encouragement, take on an echo of the past. We receive today what might have been sent years ago. In contrast, the telemetry we gather from the new star system feels immediate by comparison. It is a shift in reference point. Our spacecraft is no longer primarily an earthly envoy receiving instructions from home, but an incoming scout receiving data from the destination. The locus of our attention has shifted firmly ahead. The whispers of distant stars remind us of a profound truth. For all our solitude, we are surrounded by the voices of the cosmos. Each star sings a song through its light, its flares, its radio emissions. Most go unheard in the emptiness, but we have been listening. and now we hear one star's melody growing louder. It is the star we will soon orbit. Its song, once faint and nearly lost amid the cosmic background, is becoming clear and distinct. In that clarity, we find both scientific information and a kind of poetry, a greeting carried on light across trillions of kilometers. It is as if the star is saying, "I've been here waiting, and I welcome you with my light." Our odyssey through the cosmic sea has thus far been largely a steady drift. But as we draw nearer to our destination, careful navigation becomes paramount. We are not aimless wanderers. We have a precise rendezvous to keep with a distant world. Every course correction, every adjustment of our sails and thrusters must be executed with delicate accuracy. The vast distances and speeds involved mean that even a tiny error, if left uncorrected, could make us miss our target by millions of kilometers. And so the ship's guidance systems, aided by the crew and AI, work tirelessly to ensure we remain on the true path through the darkness. In deep space, there are no signposts, no landmarks visible to the naked eye beyond the constellations. Our navigation relies on the stars themselves. Early in the journey, we charted our course using known pulsars, spinning neutron stars whose regular flashes act like cosmic lighthouses. By measuring the timing of their pulses, our onboard computer can pinpoint our position, much as ancient sailors once used the fixed stars. These pulsars, with their millisecond beats, give us a reference frame even out here, far from any planet. It's a fascinating sight on the monitors, a constant readout of distances to a handful of pulsars and quasars, updating our coordinates in the galaxy in real time. We truly navigate by the beacons of dead stars and distant galaxies, a method fitting for crossing the interstellar ocean. As we reached the midpoint of our journey, a critical maneuver was performed. The ship slowly pivoted end for end, turning its engines toward the direction of travel. This turn was graceful and deliberate, taking days to complete so as not to jolt the sleeping crew or strain the ship's structure. Once we faced backwards relative to our motion, the main engines roared to life once again for the first time in decades. This was the beginning of our deceleration. A steady burn, not nearly as intense as our initial launch, but sustained over a long period, began to bleed off the tremendous velocity we had accumulated. The sensation for anyone awake was subtle, a gentle pressure, a feeling that the floor had an up and a down again as we imparted a slight artificial gravity through thrust. The starfield outside shifted slowly as we decelerated, the bright target star inching forward in our view as we carefully managed our approach. This deceleration phase is as crucial as the launch. We must arrive with the right speed to be captured by the star's gravity, rather than slingshot past it into endless space. If we come in too fast, we would overshoot our new home in a blink. Too slow, and we waste precious fuel and time. Thus, the engines are carefully modulated, guided by continuous calculations. We monitor our velocity relative to the target star, watching the numbers drop from a significant fraction of light speed down to more human scales. The process takes months or years of intermittent thrusting, long, patient braking against the immense momentum of our ship. In that time, the anticipation builds. Each percentage of velocity shed is a step closer to being able to coast gently into orbit around our new sun. All the while, we remain vigilant of the environment around us. The interstellar medium, though thin, is not empty. Our ship's forward shields have been enduring tiny impacts of dust and micro debris throughout the journey. At our high speeds, even a grain of sand could be catastrophic. But our vessel was designed for this. A sturdy shield at the bow, perhaps a layered composite or electromagnetic field, has been absorbing and deflecting those particles. Over the years, it has accumulated pits and scars, each a testament to a collision with a mote of cosmic dust. Now, as we decelerate, the relative energy of those impacts lessens too, like easing up against an oncoming wind. We inspect the shield via remote cameras and find it holding strong, weathered but intact, a brave prow that has led us safely through the cosmic sea. Navigation also involves finding our approach corridor into the new star system. We cannot simply barrel straight in. We must come in on a trajectory that aligns with the planetary plane of our target world. Long before arrival, when we plotted this journey, astronomers determined the likely orbital plane of the planet by observing its transit. Using that information, we adjusted our flight path to intersect that plane at the right angle. Now the ship fine-tunes this alignment by slight tweaks. A pulse from a lateral thruster here, a 10-second burn there. These small nudges, done months in advance, will ensure that when we arrive, we will be in the same flat disk where the planets circle their sun, not coming in above or below it. It is akin to aiming for the thin edge of a coin from many miles away, an incredible feat of precision, but necessary for a successful insertion into the system. We often liken this stage of the journey to a sailing ship nearing shore after a long ocean crossing. The helmsman becomes extra attentive, reading the waves and winds, adjusting the sails for a smooth landfall. For us, the waves are gravitational influences, and the wind is the solar radiation and stellar wind of the approaching star. Our instruments keep track of the slight increase in charged particles as we enter the far reaches of the star's stellar wind. Yes, now we can detect it. A faint uptick in plasma hitting our detectors, the beginning of the new sun's heliosphere. It's as though we've begun to feel the breeze from the land ahead. The bow of our ship cuts into this new stellar wind, and we know we are crossing into the domain of another sun. The maps we carry of this target system are still sparse. We know the basics, the approximate distances of its planets, the orbit of the one we aim for, perhaps the existence of a gas giant farther out that we suspected we might pass on the way in. But much is unknown. As we approach, the navigation team also acts as an assembly of explorers, constantly scanning around for any sign of unexpected bodies, undiscovered moons, rings, or asteroids that could pose a hazard or an opportunity for study. We have long-range imaging systems now finally able to resolve objects in the vicinity of the star. Before long, our telescopes indeed spot a giant planet on the outskirts, a pale gas giant catching the light of its sun. We adjust course slightly to avoid its far-reaching gravity, but also to marvel at it as we pass. Even from a distance, we can discern subtle bands in its atmosphere and the hint of a ring system glimmering around its equator. A handful of moons accompany it, pearls of light orbiting a golden globe. The sight of this majestic world, a silent sentinel of the outer system, makes our destination star feel all the more like a living solar system, complete with its own wonders. The cosmic sea is giving way to a coastal archipelago of worlds, and we navigate carefully among them. Throughout this process, communication between the ship's AI, the onboard crew, those awake, and any remote guidance still being sent from Earth or earlier probes is seamless and constant. At this distance, any message from Earth is outdated by years, so we rely on autonomous protocols that were uploaded well in advance. We carry the collective wisdom of mission control in our computer's memory, algorithms refined to handle these crucial moments of arrival. Still, human judgment plays a role. Awakened crew members pore over navigation data, double-check trajectories and fuel reserves. There is a focused calm among them, a determination to get it right. It is as if all the years of quiet have been a prelude to this intense chapter of activity and decision-making. A delicate balance defines our navigation now. We must decelerate enough to be captured by the star's gravity, but also prepare to accelerate again to maneuver into orbit around the target planet. The plan is to swing by the star and use its gravity in a braking maneuver, a gravity assist in reverse, shedding some speed as we pass near, then firing engines to adjust course outward toward the planet's orbit. This requires threading a needle of immense proportions. Our trajectory must take us close enough to benefit from the star's gravity, but not so close that we endanger the ship or overshoot the planet's orbital path. Calculations for this have been running for years and are constantly refined with new data as our knowledge of the star's mass and the planet's position becomes more precise. One cannot help but marvel at the choreography of it all. We are orchestrating a meeting between two tiny objects, a spacecraft and a distant world, moving through an unimaginably vast expanse. It is like launching a single speck of dust across an ocean and having it land on a specific grain of sand on a distant shore. And yet, thanks to physics and careful planning, we are making it happen. Space navigation at this scale is an art of precision and patience. Each burn of the engine, each firing of a thruster, is done with foresight, sometimes planned years in advance. The result is that, barring the unforeseen, our ship glides ever closer to its mark, with trajectory maps updating in real time to show our path bending gracefully into the target system. Now, as we navigate these final stages, there's a sense of approaching transition. We have spent so long in interstellar transit that it became almost our normal existence, a constant journey with no tangible destination in sight. But suddenly, the destination is all around us, in the data, and even, faintly, out the window, as a bright star grows larger ahead. The crew members find themselves in awe that the abstract numbers they watched for so many years are turning into real places we can nearly see. The cosmic sea we sailed is calming as we enter the protective embrace of a star once more. After the long and solitary crossing, we are finally arriving in a new harbour. The navigation that occupied our minds for so long is gradually achieving its goal. Soon, the time will come to shift focus from journey to arrival. At last, the new sun dominates our sky. We have entered the inner reaches of its solar system, and its light surrounds us like a warm embrace. Crossing into this star's heliosphere was an almost imperceptible milestone. One moment we were in the cold interstellar medium. The next, we felt a subtle change in the particle environment and knew we were inside the sphere of this sun's influence. For the second time on our voyage, we crossed a heliopause, but this time we were coming home rather than leaving it. Now, within the protective bubble of our new sun, we bask in its golden glow. Daylight, true daylight from a star, fills our ship's windows, something we haven't experienced since we left Earth. It is a gentle, honey-coloured light, and it feels like a promise kept. As we draw closer to the orbit of the target planet, the ship's deceleration burns grow shorter and finally cease. We have matched velocities with our new sun's family of worlds, coasting in on a stable approach. In the control cabin, the crew gathers, fully awake and alert after years in suspension and transit. There is a mixture of excitement and nervousness in the air. Beyond the forward viewing ports, the star shines brilliantly, flooding the interior with dawn-like radiance. It casts distinct shadows on the walls of the cabin. We find ourselves squinting and smiling. After so long, to feel the sensation of starlight through a window is almost surreal. Some crew members instinctively raise a hand to feel the warmth on their skin, even through the glass. Our trajectory brings us into the plane of the ecliptic, where the target planet's orbit lies. After refining our path with final engine bursts, we at last catch sight of something extraordinary. A faint dot near that bright star, moving ever so slightly against the backdrop of space. At first, it could be mistaken for a mote of dust on the lens, but as we focus our telescopes, it resolves into a tiny crescent. It is the planet, our new world, still millions of kilometers away, reflecting its sun's light in a slender arc. A ripple of recognition goes through the crew. For so long, this planet was an abstract goal, a set of coordinates and a promise. Now, suddenly, it is visibly real, hanging out there in front of us as a delicate curve of light. We approach over the course of days, each hour bringing that crescent into a fuller shape. What was a mere sliver becomes a larger bow, and then, as our angle changes, a half-lit globe. Details start to emerge. The colour is the first thing we notice. Blue. A rich, deep blue graces the surface in our view screens, the unmistakable sign of vast oceans. Swirling across that blue are patches of white, moving slowly, cloud systems unfolding in the atmosphere. Amid the blue and white, we catch glimpses of brown and green landmasses. They shift into view along the terminator line between day and night. Continents on an alien Earth, revealed in the morning light as we draw near. There are gasps aboard the ship, and some laughter mixed with tears. It looks so familiar, and yet it is entirely new, a twin of our home world, seen up close for the very first time. Memories of Earth flood back as we observe this living tapestry. The sight of blue ocean and white cloud triggers something primal and joyful in all of us. We knew from data that this world had water and air, but seeing it with our own eyes is a wholly different experience. It's like meeting a long-lost sibling. The resemblance to our own planet is striking. The crew falls into a hush. Some press their faces to the glass. Others stand back with hands over their mouths, eyes bright. In the quiet, someone lets out an exhale that sounds like a laugh or a sob, perhaps a bit of both. There are whispers of, "We made it," and soft exclamations of wonder. In this shared moment, all the sacrifices and years melt away. We are face to face with the object of our dreams. Gently, our spacecraft eases into orbit around the new Earth. Small thrusters fire in staccato bursts, each one nudging us onto the correct trajectory to be captured by the planet's gravity. We feel the slightest tremors and hear faint puffs as the attitude control system works. On the instruments, numbers that once represented enormous velocities and vast distances now fall into ranges that feel almost ordinary. Orbital altitude, orbital speed, concepts we know from circling Earth in times past. It is as if all our experience comes full circle in this moment. With a final subtle burn, the ship locks into orbit. We are now circling a new world, held by the gentle pull of its gravity. We are no longer just interstellar travelers. We are visitors to a planet once imagined only from afar. Daylight floods the viewports as our ship sails above the planet's dayside. Below us sprawls a breathtaking panorama. The curve of the new Earth, edged with the thin halo of its atmosphere. We see the glint of sunlight on an ocean, a long silver ribbon shimmering on restless waves. We see cotton-white clouds casting soft shadows on the surface below. Along one edge of a continent, a chain of snow-capped mountains catches the morning light, sparkling like jewels. Further north, or what we define as north for now, a massive swirling storm system is visible, a white spiral in a turquoise sea, echoing the hurricanes of old Earth. Every feature is at once alien and familiar, a beautiful paradox that holds us spellbound. We take our time simply to look. Scientific measurements are being recorded in parallel. Atmospheric composition, surface temperatures, mapping of terrain from orbit. But for these first precious minutes, data is secondary to the sheer awe of witnessing this world. The crew speaks in murmurs, or not at all. Some have tears running freely now, a release of decades of tension and hope. Others grin like children, pointing out features excitedly. Look at that huge island, almost the size of Australia. That must be a vast forest. See how green that region is. There's a calm blue bay. Imagine standing there at sunrise. The realization sinks in with each observation. This world is real, solid, and within reach. We are here. Above the night side of the planet, the view is equally stirring. As our ship passes into the planet's shadow, the new sun slips behind the horizon, and a soft darkness envelops us. Soon, down on the surface, we see a different kind of light. The gentle glow of the planet's moon rising, casting pale illumination on the cloud tops. Stars emerge in the sky beyond, and for the first time, those stars are seen from a vantage point, not of Earth, but of this new Earth. The constellations are a bit unfamiliar, skewed by our travel across light years, but they frame the silhouette of this world's horizon. We float in darkness for a while, watching the night side of the planet. If there is any life down there advanced enough to light fires or build cities, we do not see it yet. Only natural starlight, the faint auroral glow of charged particles dancing over the poles, and the occasional silent flash of lightning within clouds, all distant whispers of weather and magnetism. It is a tranquil, almost holy sight, as if the planet is sleeping and we are respectful observers of its night. In the midst of this awe, we do not forget the world we left behind. At the first opportunity, our ship's communications array is pointed back toward the distant sun of our origin. We transmit a simple, profound message, one composed years ago for this very moment, that we have arrived, that the new world is before us, blue and alive. We know it will be decades before anyone on Earth hears this faint signal, and even longer until a reply could return. Yet we send it with hearts full of triumph and gratitude. Across the light years, our voices carry the news that humanity has travelled beyond the interstellar void and found what it sought. It is a shout of joy cast into the silent gulf between stars, a greeting from this new sun's shores to all those who still gaze up from under the old sun's sky. Circling this world, we are careful and deliberate. The next steps will be complex. Scouting landing sites, deploying probes, eventually descending to the surface. But we do not rush this moment. There is a collective understanding among us that we stand at the threshold of something immense. Humanity has never come this far before, and before we set foot on this new Earth, we allow ourselves to fully experience the act of arriving. Our orbit takes us around the planet multiple times, each pass revealing new aspects below. A sprawling archipelago of green islands in a sparkling sea here, a vast ochre desert with dark, craggy outcroppings there, polar caps gleaming at the terminator, where day meets night. Each orbit is a new discovery, a preview of the countless wonders that await on the surface. As the ship gently glides from day side to night side and back again, the new sun repeatedly rises and sets for us over the horizon of the planet. Each sunrise is a spectacle. First a ruby halo, as the star's rays filter through the atmosphere at the edge. Then a sudden burst of gold as it climbs into view, illuminating cloud tops and turning the planet's rim into a ring of fire. Each sunset is equally mesmerizing, with colors shifting through peach and rose into deep twilight blues. We watch these cycles in reverent silence. They mark the passage of time here, a new day-night rhythm that will soon govern our lives on the surface. It's a gorgeous introduction to the daily life of this world, given to us from our perch on high. In these hours of orbit, each of us takes a moment alone at the observation window or screen to silently commune with the sight of the new Earth. Some whisper personal messages, perhaps a greeting to the planet, or a word to loved ones light years away, telling them that we have arrived and that it's everything we hoped for. Others simply close their eyes with faces tilted toward the glow reflected from the planet, offering prayers or thanks in their own way. It is a deeply personal time, yet also profoundly shared. We all feel the weight and wonder of this achievement. We dared to cross the interstellar void, and now we are here, at the shores of a new world. Eventually, calm determination returns. The crew begins preparations for the next phase. We ready our landers and equipment, double-check life support systems for surface conditions, and review maps generated from orbital scans. Butterflies flutter in our stomachs, an excited nervousness at the thought that soon we will descend and feel ground under our boots again, ground that no human has ever walked. We know that will come soon enough. A few of us trade guesses about what our first words will be when we step onto the soil below, half jokingly trying to craft a worthy line. We recall how on humanity's first moon landing, one astronaut spoke of a small step. What will we say on this new Earth? Perhaps nothing planned at all. Maybe just a gasp of wonder. We smile at the thought. In truth, the moment will likely leave us speechless, and that will be fitting. For the moment, as this phase of our journey draws to a close, we linger just a little longer in the embrace of space, savoring the view and the profound silence that accompanies it. We have traveled farther than any humans before us, guided by the light of a star we now call our own. In the gentle glow of this new sun, above an Earth that is not the one we knew, but may become our future, we find a sense of peace. The story is not ending here. If anything, it is opening onto its grandest chapter. The long night of travel is behind us. The dawn of a new era unfolds below, awaiting our first footsteps, as we quietly prepare to step beyond the void and truly begin life under a new sun. Our ship glides gracefully out of orbit, descending into the embrace of an alien atmosphere. Through the viewport, we watch heavy clouds part beneath us, revealing patches of land and sea far below. At first, the planet appears almost serene, a vast swirl of blues and greens stretching to the horizon. We remain calm but alert, senses attuned to every subtle cue of the descent. Below us, great rolling banks of cloud drift like immense seas of marble. They stretch endlessly, sculpted by winds we cannot see, ever-changing shape. Sunlight filters through the high atmosphere in shafts of gold and crimson, painting the clouds in soft, shifting patterns. Gentle currents guide our craft smoothly downward. In the cockpit, The crew remains focused, yet silent. Each of us gazes with quiet awe as the planet reveals itself. We exchange no words. There is no need. Our breathing synchronizes with the gentle heartbeat of the ship's engines. In these final moments, training and technology fade into the background, leaving only the sheer presence of this new world before us. As we go deeper, the view expands. Mountains faintly rise through cracks in the clouds, ancient ranges shrouded in mist. They feel like silent witnesses to eons beyond our reach. Rivers weave through the landscape, glinting silver in the scattered light. A soft pressure builds, and our ears pop gently as the craft slips farther into the thickening air. As we continue downward, the ship itself feels alive in the atmosphere. Panels and screens glow softly with data about the world beyond. Outside, the light shifts. Inside, our hearts shift with it. The planet's atmosphere feels alive, stirring around us, and with every breath we feel closer to it. We are not just visiting. In a few moments, we will be a part of it. The colors of the sky shift overhead. At first pale blue, the atmosphere around us deepens into a rich greenish hue as we descend. High clouds catch the light of the sun hanging beyond our world, painting the sky in shades unseen on Earth. Above us, the distant star filters through particles stirred by the wind, creating a dim, emerald twilight ahead. High above, another celestial body appears. A pale moon, hazy and half visible, casting a gentle glow through the green-tinted sky. Its presence is foreign and comforting at once. A silent guardian, watching the dawn of our arrival. Far in the sky's periphery, our eyes catch another wonder. A pale, glimmering ring encircling the planet. It stretches in an arc beyond sight, dust and ice creating a band that filters sunlight. Though subtle and distant, the ring makes the sky feel even more alien, a reminder that this world is different in more ways than one. Encased within our cabin, we nonetheless sense the promise of this atmosphere. The air outside is cool and moist against the hull, as if smelling distant rain or sea salt. Though we cannot open a window, the craft seems to carry the faintest hint of this new world's scent. It is a humble reminder that beyond technology, we are truly here. Through a break in the clouds, a section of ocean comes into view, its calm surface reflecting the soft green sky. There are islands, little emerald specks, scattered like confetti across the water. We adjust our course, veering toward a larger landmass visible on the horizon. The ship's engines hum softly now, as if respecting the majesty of this new world. Deep inside, the crew is still and quiet. In these final moments before landing, every instrument hums softly, reading the atmosphere and terrain below. On the panel, data confirms what we hope: breathable air similar to our own, though tinged with unfamiliar gases that give the sky its greenish color. Outside, long feather-like clouds reach up from below as if greeting our descent. Everything feels gentle, safe. Inside, we catch sight of the sealed suits hanging on the cabin walls, waiting quietly for their turn. They are reminders of both our safety and vulnerability here. In just a few breaths, we may stand fully exposed to this world's air, and those suits stand between us and the unknown. For now, we need them only in case, but their presence soothes our minds as much as it reassures. Below us, the wind is calm. The ship's exterior shows no sign of turbulence. Occasionally, A distant thunder rolls from the far side of the world, but here all is still. The land waits below, patient and silent, ready to welcome us. The final moments of descent feel like a quiet meditation, each second stretching out longer, filled with anticipation and awe. In truth, only minutes have passed since we began our descent, though it feels like an eternity. Time seems to stretch here, each moment heavier with meaning. Every second spent drifting down through these alien clouds becomes etched into our memory. Suddenly, the last layer of cloud parts beneath us. We emerge above an open plain. From here, fields of tall grasses ripple in a gentle breeze. Low hills lie in the distance. The land is quilted in subtle shades of emerald and amber, unspoiled and untouched. The ship hovers for a moment in the thin air before continuing downward. We move into the final approach. The engine's roar softens, and the cabin fills with a silence deeper than any ocean. The sun, now low on the horizon, casts a gentle light across the plains, setting the grasses and rocks aglow with a soft gold. In this moment, silence reigns, broken only by the faint humming of our systems and our own unspoken wonder. Our onboard systems have guided us to this spot, a broad, flat plateau on the plains below. Small hills surround the landing zone like gentle guardians, shielding against fierce winds that roam this world in their own time. This site is exactly as we planned, open, level, and bathed in the soft light of this calm afternoon. Just above the ground, we cut the engines completely. The ship floats on inertia for a heartbeat, then settles with a gentle thud. We are here. The landing legs gently touch down onto soft soil, stirring only the slightest dust into the air. Dust motes hang around the landing gear, catching the faint green-tinged light of the dim sky. A subtle tremor runs through the hull, the first true signal of solid ground beneath our feet. A hush fills the cabin. Finally, our journey is no longer measured in numbers or coordinates. It is simply here. The engines fall silent, and stillness fills the cabin. At last, we feel our own hearts steady, and our breaths deepen, breathing in the air of this alien world with wonder. Then a low whisper travels around the cockpit. Just one word, landed, carrying in it a wave of relief and awe. We have arrived. Outside the viewports, the alien world awaits beneath a calm afternoon sky. After all we have endured to get here, nothing needs saying. We simply sit quietly and breathe, absorbing the enormity of this moment. The hatch opens with a quiet hiss, and a fresh breeze greets us from outside. For the first time since launch, the outside world touches our skin directly. We step onto the ship's ramp carefully. Its metal floor is warm under our boots from the distant sun. Beyond the ramp, the world stretches out with endless possibility. Beneath our boots, the ground is firm, yet springy, covered in a carpet of short, fuzzy vegetation. Each of us walks down into this new realm with deliberate calm, letting the reality of our arrival sink in. The air that meets us is cool and slightly humid, like a gentle mist from an early morning on Earth. It carries an earthy smell, mixed with a hint of something bright and unknown, perhaps the scent of alien flora. Though we can breathe it easily, the difference from home air is palpable. This is truly a world apart. Each breath we take feels weightless and alive, as if the planet itself is greeting us. Around us, the landscape unfolds in gentle hills and valleys. The grasses here are short and soft, like a plush carpet underfoot. delicate flowers dot the meadow, their petals shining with dew that still clings after a cool night. Tiny, chipmunk-like creatures dash away into the underbrush at our approach, and above, a bright-winged bird streaks across the sky. Colours here are familiar, yet different. Greens tinged with a faint blue, violets that almost glow in the morning light. Every step we take stirs the world awake. The ground itself feels rich underfoot. We kneel on one knee and run a hand across it. It is cool, damp, and surprisingly yielding beneath our fingers. The soil crumbles easily, giving way to a deeper layer like a sponge. Tiny roots tangle together a few inches down. In that moment, the weight of what we have found presses on us, the foundation of life itself beneath our hands. We step out fully now, one by one. A gentle sunlight warms our backs. Our eyes scan the horizon. Low forests on a distant ridge to the north. Faint outlines of mountains beyond the eastern hills. And the glimmer of a stream reflecting sunlight among the grasses. We exchange quiet looks. Words seem unnecessary. This world is unfolding itself before us in serene detail. We leave all equipment on board for now, wanting to experience this moment fully present. Without heavy packs or helmets, the world seems closer. One of us kneels to pick a small flower, noting its fine fragrance. We laugh softly at the small gesture. Even here we feel like children in a new playground. Our gaze settles on a grove of tall, fern-like plants nearby. Their delicate leaves sway gently in the breeze. Though they have an uncanny similarity to Earth flora, their leaves are bronze green with patterns reminiscent of stained glass. They are peaceful sentinels, watching our every cautious move. The sky above us is a soft turquoise instead of blue, tinged by the planet's unique atmosphere. Wispy clouds drift lazily in the distance. High overhead, the pale moon we saw from orbit is now visible in the dim sky, a pale disk against green haze. Its presence makes the view even more surreal. I walk a few steps and feel the sturdy ground beneath each footfall. The gravity feels nearly the same as Earth's. Our strides are natural. For a moment, I allow myself to savor this. A human being walking on an alien world. The simplicity of it feels profound, more so than any calculations could have prepared us for. We look back at the open hatch and the quiet ship behind us, feeling a subtle thrill in our chests. Far behind is the world we left, replaced now by this quiet paradise of grasses and distant mountains. All at once, the entire journey from Earth to here floods my mind, not as a scary void, but as the path leading to this very step. We have arrived, yet we don't move to work just yet. Tools rest at our sides, but for now we simply stand still. Right now, this moment feels less like the realization of a mission and more like a precious gift. Silently, we share a connection to this place, understanding without words that this is indeed something extraordinary. I breathe deeply, filling my lungs with the cool, fragrant air. It's sweet and fresh here, alive with the scent of whatever is blooming nearby. Without a helmet, I feel the breeze on my skin, soft against my cheeks. Each inhale seems to lighten my spirit. This isn't earth air, but it's nourishing in its own way. Nearby, we find a narrow stream trickling through the grasses. The water is crystal clear, running over pebbles that glint in the sunlight. One of us kneels and cups the water in a hand, watching how tiny creatures dart through it. We taste it, cold and pure on our lips, absolutely free of any harshness. We share a silent smile. Even the water here carries a promise of life. Behind us, the distant silhouette of our ship seems at peace, resting like an artifact on the twilight grasses. It looks so ordinary out here, almost trivial against the grandeur of this alien world. I feel a strange pang as I consider the planet we left behind, the sliver of home now just a memory. Yet all at once, the entire journey from Earth to here floods my mind, not as a void, but as a bridge that led to this very step. Our roles here feel immense, yet at this moment, we are all children again, marveling at something beautiful. We stand on this ground and feel both small and at peace. It's a peaceful balance, belonging without ownership, being guests invited to take in the beauty, grateful for where we are. Time moves softly, and as the light continues to shift, we know our stay by the ship has reached its quiet closure. We gather our gear and prepare to leave this small clearing. Slowly, we walk beyond the ship's shadow, stepping across the grasses into the open expanse. Each step is deliberate as we venture farther from the safety of the craft. The new world stretches before us like an open book waiting to be read. With each step, we feel the earth respond beneath us. I allow a boot heel to press into the damp soil, leaving a subtle imprint. This tiny mark, the first human step on this ground, feels sacred and fleeting. Gentle breezes will erase it in time, but for now, it connects us more deeply to this place. We move on, mindful of the footprints that trace our path across this alien field. Ahead of us, the terrain gently slopes downward into a broad valley. Dense forest borders its rim, trees standing tall like sentinels. Far beyond, we spot the faint outline of distant mountains, their peaks veiled by a soft haze. The evening sun touches their summits with golden light, making them glow against the green sky. It is a breathtaking horizon, promising more wonders yet to come. As we move forward, the sounds of this world become clearer. We hear the distant rustle of creatures in the underbrush, the chirp of an unseen bird settling in the trees. Every so often, a large shadow passes among the trees or behind a hill, suggesting something substantial moving out of view. We do not panic at these sounds. They seem natural, like wildlife in any quiet field. They remind us that this is indeed a living world. Without speaking, we share quiet smiles. Our eyes convey everything. At this moment, no words are needed. This silence feels more eloquent than any plan or briefing ever could be. We all know what must come next, even if we linger a moment longer to take it in. The journey is far from over. It has only just begun. We continue across the meadow, the sun climbing higher overhead. Suddenly, we step into a field of enormous blue flowers. Each bloom is nearly as tall as we are, and their soft petals glow gently under the sunlight. We carefully part the flowers, discovering small winged creatures like butterflies inside, feeding on nectar. The scene feels magical, as if we have stumbled into a giant garden. None of us expected to find such beauty, and we pause in gratitude. We continue walking, venturing deeper into the landscape. The grasses slowly give way to taller plants, and soon we find ourselves at the edge of a gentle forest. Sunlight filters through the branches, casting long shadows on the soft ground beneath. The air here is cooler and fragrant with pine-like foliage. Beneath our boots, fallen needles cushion each step, making our footsteps nearly silent. Every sound, a twig snapping or leaves rustling, seems magnified in the hush. We move slowly, savouring this moment, as if every footstep should be more felt. A relaxed wonder hangs over us, born of being exactly where we dreamed we would be. Tall, slender trees reach skyward all around us. Their bark is smooth and silvery, flecked with patterns like white veins. Some trees bear long, thin leaves that flutter like silk in the breeze. We pause at one particularly magnificent specimen. One of us gently lays a hand against its trunk, feeling a subtle vibration. It could be the wind, but in this moment, the tree almost feels alive, an ancient being sharing its energy. We each take turns touching it, exchanging quiet, amazed glances. Even something as simple as a tree can feel wholly new and amazing here. From the bushes, a flurry of orange and black darts away. It could be an animal, perhaps a curious native creature. Though it moves with such grace, it almost appears woven from the foliage itself. Further along, gentle teal-feathered birds with delicate songs flit between branches. We hear their calls, a series of soft whistles and chirps, forming a melody unlike any we have heard before. One especially bold bird lands on a branch near us, studying us with bright, intelligent eyes before taking off again. Each sound and rustle from this living forest fills us with calm excitement, as if it is actively welcoming us into its peaceful fold. Emerging from the forest, we find ourselves on a high overlook. The valley we have entered is wide and dotted with rolling hills. A slow river snakes through the valley floor, shimmering like a silver ribbon in the last light. We turn slowly, taking in the entire vista. Behind us, the forest and mountains we have traversed. Ahead, an even greater unknown expanse. Above, the pale ring encircling the planet glows faintly against the dusky sky. The planet's pale moon begins to emerge in the sky's green twilight. For a long moment, we stand as if suspended, absorbing this breathtaking panoramic scene, feeling a unity with all that stretches out before and around us. In the far distance to our east, towering mountains rise, their jagged peaks already hidden by the encroaching darkness of evening. To the west lies a vast desert plain where the last rays of sun still dance across the horizon. Between these extremes, the valley floor curves with life. We glimpse a glistening lake where the river broadens among tall reeds near the forest's edge. Such diversity is astonishing. Forest, river, lake, desert, mountains, all present within a single view. Our eyes move from one wonder to the next, scarcely believing that it is all real and within our reach. We notice to the far west that the sky is deepening, and very far away, flashes of lightning occasionally illuminate distant clouds. Those storms roll on the other side of this world, invisible but present. Yet here, under our feet, the wilderness between us and those storms remains calm and inviting. A quiet breeze stirs, and we take a moment to close our eyes and let it carry away any fatigue. In these moments of stillness, it feels as if the planet itself is humming softly around us, a gentle lullaby in which to rest. We stand in comfortable silence, letting the vastness sink in. Every one of us is smiling softly, gazing out at the scene. Our hearts have slowed, and every detail seems more vivid. One of us retrieves a small data pad and makes a quick, imprecise sketch of the view. Another quietly points out the swirling clouds above a far mountain. Even without words, we communicate excitement and gratitude. The usual chatter of mission plans fades. All that matters now is this moment and the incredible view before us, shared in hushed awe. Equipment rests at our sides or in our hands, but we consider it secondary to what we see. We want to remember this place, not only in data, but in memory. Still, practicality tugs at our minds, reminding us of exploration. We decide to send a small drone to map the far edges of the valley while we remain here. This is a small act, but it feels significant, extending our senses beyond what our bodies can reach. We watch the drone launch, its lights fading into the distance, bridging the known and unknown. We set out, making our way slowly toward the river we saw flowing through the valley. Each step we take is slow, careful, almost reverent. When we reach the riverbank, we are met by a symphony of small sounds, the gentle babble of water, the chirping of evening insects, and the distant call of a night bird. The river itself is shallow here, its waters smooth. We stare into it and see smooth stones on the bottom, etched by currents over ages. The scene is peaceful, inviting us to rest for a moment. One of us steps into the river. Another watches while carefully avoiding the water. The cool current flows around ankle-high boots. A ripple extends from where our feet rest, as if dancing with the current. Water beetles scurry away. We kneel at the edge, dipping hands into the flow. The water is crisp, fragrant with unseen minerals. Each drop against our palms is like a gentle invitation, washing away fatigue and filling us with quiet joy. We gaze down into the water. The surface now reflects the deepening sky and the first pale stars of this night, creating a dreamlike image. Ripples from moving water and occasional fish wake distort the reflection, reminding us which side is real. Each ripple makes the scene shimmer in and out of focus, as if reminding us that we're here on the real world. I let a few droplets of this pristine water touch my lips and savor it. It tastes clean and pure, with a hint of minerals I can't identify. We all share a smile. Each of us understands that our first step into a stream on another world feels like both an achievement and a blessing. Tonight, this river will nourish us. We know it without words. Reluctantly, we stand and take one last look at the river. The sun is now a thin band on the horizon, and the stars emerge one by one. We know the night ahead will be quiet and cold, but we feel ready. Tonight's camp will be just here beside the river, under the vast alien sky. We gather a few flat stones to lay near our sleeping mats and start organizing equipment. We set up a small camp in the soft grass, choosing a spot sheltered by a low rise and overlooking the stream. One of us marks a perimeter with arranged stones, another double-checks tools and supplies. The night is not for building structures or using fire. Here we trust in the planet's calm embrace. As we work, the sky overhead grows darker, revealing unseen constellations. Even in these tasks, we move with reverence, honoring the world around us. The sky's colors deepen as evening falls. The green daylight slowly gives way to a tranquil turquoise dusk. High clouds catch the fading light, turning golden and then crimson. Shadows lengthen, and the first bright stars begin to peer out from the sky. We pause to watch the horizon, feeling the day's warmth fade gently. Once again, we are enveloped in a serene calm. The sky's colours continue to deepen, even as we lie in the grass. Twilight on this world is unlike any we have known. Here, hues of green fade into teal, and then midnight blue. The pale sun has set, but a faint glow lingers near the horizon, a reminder of the day's brilliance. We watch silently as the first stars begin to appear one by one, each blinking into existence against the greenish backdrop. The chorus of evening sounds reaches us. We hear distant whispers of wind through the trees, a gentle rustle of leaves, and the soft chirp of unseen night insects. The river at camp continues to gurgle quietly. Its sound is a lullaby that we imagine must be common to all worlds. Everything has grown peaceful. The alien night envelops us like a warm blanket, and each breath of cool night air feels cleansing. In this quiet, our minds drift homeward. I remember the twilights of my youth, the familiar constellations of Earth I once gazed upon. Here, though the stars are different, the feeling is the same. A gentle reminder that somewhere far behind us, another day is ending. It comforts me. We are so far away, but some things are universal. We each silently reflect on what we've left behind and feel gratitude. Gratitude for being alive in this moment, for the courage that brought us here, and for the companionship we share. The time between day and night always feels magical. On Earth, we thought of it as the golden hour. Here, perhaps it is the emerald hour. Twilight feels like a closing chapter and a promise of a new one. We realize how far we have come, not just in distance, but in time, in experience, in understanding. We are living a story still unfolding. The day may be over, but our journey is far from done. Slowly, the sky above darkens completely, leaving only the stars and those distant glimmers of galaxies. I lift my eyes and try to trace constellations. I can't recognize any familiar shapes. The night sky is an entirely new map. But I find this thrilling. It reminds me how small we are in the cosmos. For a long while, we simply trace lines between stars with our eyes, imagining stories to match their patterns. Even without words, there is reverence in our silence. Eventually, our bodies begin to tell the true story of the long day. Eyelids grow heavy, and murmurs turn to yawns. We make sure our gear is tucked away, and all is ready for sleep. Even lying here, the night feels welcoming, not forbidding. Under alien constellations and the gentle buzz of life around us, we fall asleep content, the darkness of night wrapping us in a calm embrace. Suddenly, streaking across the sky, a meteor blazes like a comet, leaving a silver trail. We gasp softly as it vanishes. On Earth, we might have missed it, but here, it captures our full attention. It reminds us that this cosmos is active and alive, just beyond our sight. Its brief passage feels like a message. In this new sky, even small events can feel monumental. We exchange looks of shared awe. Even something as fleeting as this cements the moment in our memories. Our minds quiet again. Thoughts drift to the future. We lie beneath these stars, knowing we may come back to this place for many cycles. What will we learn tomorrow? We feel connected, not only to each other, but to everyone who has ever looked up at the night sky. We are the keepers of this night now, and we respect its silence. Gradually, the darkness brings out new wonders. Bioluminescent plants begin to glow softly. The same flowers we admired by day now emit a gentle light from their centers, casting an otherworldly glow across the meadow. In the distance, we see patches of ground lighting up like patches of stars, as clusters of tiny luminous organisms awaken. We are surrounded by life that follows its own rhythm, some dormant in light, others flourishing in night. It feels as if the world itself is watching over our rest. The night air is filled with a gentle chorus. Somewhere nearby, amphibious creatures croak softly, adding a melody to the symphony of insects. Each time a breeze stirs, the rustle of leaves seems like a whispered lullaby. It's as if the planet is softly singing us to sleep, a comforting, ancient song of life. We listen, letting it carry us toward dreams. Even though I know sleep is near, I linger in the moment. I feel incredibly alive under this sky, part of something much larger than my everyday life. The night around me is calm and alive. Each star, each glow, each sound feels like a message from this world to our being. I realize that sleep can wait a moment longer. Tonight, we are truly present and awake in this distant paradise. Around us, the edge of sleep begins to blur reality and dreams. Yet we hold on to this waking moment, breathing in the cool air and letting it fill our lungs with calm. Above, the faint morning breeze starts to pick up dew off the petals, tiny droplets glistening in the starlight. In these final minutes before sleep, I feel time stretch. Twilight is over, and all that remains is a serene pause in our journey. I glance at my companions as they drift off. A profound gratitude washes over me. For them, for this journey, for the chance to witness this. We do not speak aloud. Our minds are filled with a simple thought. This is how exploration should feel. With that, the first of us falls asleep, joined by the gentle rise and fall of the other's breathing. We leave this moment untouched by noise or haste, honoring the twilight that welcomed us to this world. In the deep hours of night, the world remains wrapped in silence. The ground is cool beneath us. Above, the stars have grown infinitely bright, covering the sky from horizon to horizon. The constellations we glimpsed at twilight are now fully visible, forming patterns we cannot name. We lie quietly, gazing up, letting this alien sky speak to us without words. A gentle breeze rustles the leaves above, carrying the scent of night. Far overhead, that pale ring we saw at sunrise now shimmers faintly around the planet's silhouette. It makes the sky feel even more mysterious. All around us, the same luminescent plants we saw earlier still glow softly, tiny points of light on the ground, mirroring the stars above. It feels as though the entire world is alive with the night's gentle illumination. Some of us wake now, lingering in bedrolls as our eyes adjust. The stillness is comforting, not lonely. We whisper almost silently that we will sit up and watch the stars. Feet still buried in soft grass, hands rested on chest. We breathe in rhythm with the night's calm. It is a peaceful vigil, awake but restful, together yet each in our own thoughts. In these quiet hours, all distances feel different. We are so far from Earth, yet here, under this sky, everything seems connected. For a moment, thoughts wander freely through space and time. We feel tiny, truly, but also comforted by the vastness that envelops us. Every star feels like a distant companion, each flicker a reminder of countless journeys light years away. We point out tiny features of the sky, a faint band of light stretching diagonally, a galaxy beyond comprehension, a pair of stars close together, orbiting each other across the cosmos. We imagine giving names to them, not Orion or Ursa, but something born of this sky. Each celestial object makes us feel as if we could never truly call ourselves alone explorers. The universe is here, and we are part of it. Each star's light is ancient, travelling unimaginable distances to reach us. We try to fathom that each twinkle we see is a story from the past, arriving now in our eyes. It stuns the mind. Even if we wanted to, we could never physically touch those stars. Yet they are here, now, a steady presence for us. We feel a deep sense of wonder that our story has crossed such distances to find this stage under alien constellations. We sit together in quiet awe. Occasionally, someone hums a gentle tune from home, quietly, sotto voce. The melody is low and comforting, a reminder that though we are far, some things remain. No words are spoken. Songs need none when carried in the heart. We simply listen to the night and to each other's breathing, feeling a perfect harmony with the cosmos around us. Even before the sun rises, we notice a faint light in the east. The sky's darkness is lifting subtly, changing from midnight blue to a deep teal. It's a gentle reminder that time moves on. Here too, night cannot stay forever. We feel neither urgency nor fear. It is simply another natural part of the cycle. And yet, it signals that soon we will be moving again, facing new challenges and wonders. The breeze shifts slightly as morning approaches. We stretch and sit up. Now fully awake, we gather in a circle and share a quiet salute to the heavens. Our eyes scan once more the fading stars. We take a deep breath of the cool morning air, already tinged with the warmth of the coming sun. For now, we remain together on this hill, not ready to step down and continue our trek. We do not need to speak. Our hearts are unified in gratitude and expectation. Slowly, the sun appears on the edge of the world, a sliver of pale gold peeking through the mountain ridges. The sky ignites in brilliant colours, gold, purple, and green blending at the horizon. We stand up, shielding our eyes, and watch this sunrise. It is not final, only another beginning. We share soft smiles among ourselves, feeling energy return with the sun's warmth. Yet even as dawn breaks, our voices remain low. We prefer the calm to carry us into the day. The plain stretches out under the golden morning light. We walk together along a winding path cut through knee-high grass, marveling at how the world changes as the sun rises. Here and there, pockets of morning mist still cling to the ground, rising as the air warms. The distant mountains now appear clearly, their peaks tipped in sunlight. We pause to take in the panorama. In this moment, we feel both the vastness of what lies ahead and a quiet joy of being exactly where we are. A small stream winds across our path. The water is shallow and crystal clear. One by one, we step through it, sending ripples across its surface. Cold droplets splash at our ankles. An involuntary thrill runs up our spine, and then a laugh slips out. We have walked far, and our legs needed this. On the far bank, bright flowers bloom. We drink deeply from the stream, and the cool water revitalizes us more than we expected. The day feels full of possibility once again. Across the stream, the terrain shifts. We begin to enter a lightly wooded area. Trees here are taller and closer together than before, their leaves filtering the morning sun to dappling our path. We step carefully between them, mindful not to disturb the creatures that must live here. Birdsong has replaced the chorus of dawn insects. We follow the path deeper, the grass underfoot giving way to soft soil. Everything feels rich with life. Along the forest edge, we find a clearing where sunlight feeds a tangle of low bushes. We recognize one of the plants, a fruit-bearing shrub from our previous studies. The berries are not only edible, but delicious. One crew member tastes a handful. The flavor is wild and sweet, something we savor quietly. We note their location for later. Even this act of gathering food feels peaceful and purposeful, sustenance taken directly from the world around us. By now, we have left our devices behind. There are no cameras or tape recorders out, only our senses and memories. We talk softly about what we're finding, a new word or plant here, a strange sound there, but mostly we just smile and continue moving. Each person carries something, a pressed leaf, a note scribbled in a journal, a handful of extra berries. These small treasures connect us to this land, little tokens to remember and share. We climb a gentle knoll, and from its crest, a new spectacle unfolds. The valley broadens, revealing wildflower fields, gently undulating in the breeze. Purple, yellow, and white blossoms sway as if greeting the sun. We pause again, drinking in the colour. It's as if the world is celebrating our presence with its beauty. One crew member remarks softly that this might be what an Earth field of dreams would look like. The beauty here is almost overwhelming. We sit on the warm grass to rest and simply admire. In the distance, the ship looks like a toy from up here, easily lost among the vast land. It occurs to us how careful the landing site selection was. We are on solid, open ground, surrounded by wonders. Together, we breathe deeply, feeling the sunlight on our faces. In these peaceful moments, the journey's hardships feel distant, replaced by sheer gratitude for being alive. As noon approaches, the sun climbs high and the air grows warmer. We break our reverie and resume walking. Ahead, the terrain appears to rise gently again. We feel neither tired nor rushed. This is exactly where we meant to be. With steady steps, we follow a path between golden stalks of tall grass. One by one, we take turns leading, trusting each other's steps. A few hours later, we notice the terrain flatten. In the distance, we see the shimmering surface of a larger lake, its waters catching the midday sunlight. The thought of returning to the tranquility of water energizes us. We head towards it, eager for rest and reflection as the lake's edge invites us in. When we arrive, the lake is a crystal mirror under the sun. We take off our boots and wade into the shallow water again. The cool lake welcomes us, washing away dust and reminding us of home somehow. We sit in the shallows, talk quietly about the stars and the day's sights. There are no grand speeches, only quiet wonder at how the day unfolds. It is peaceful companionship, companions with one goal: to know this world. We let ourselves drift in the cool water a bit longer. The sky above is a perfect blue now, and tiny fish gather at our submerged toes. Laughter bubbles up as we flick them gently, and for a moment, all that matters is the cool water and our shared delight. No words are needed to describe how this, a simple splash of water, feels absolutely splendid after hours of travel. Eventually, heat from the sun makes us realize we've lingered too long. We climb out of the lake, our muscles pleasantly tired. On the shore, dragonfly-like insects dart between reeds. One lands on a rock near us, its wings sparkling in the light. We each allow a moment to simply stand, feeling the warmth and listening to the splash of water recede behind us. Then, feeling rejuvenated, we prepare to continue. Heading back into the woods, we take a new path parallel to the shoreline. The forest here is alive with midday activity. Birds swoop between branches, and small creatures rustle unseen through the undergrowth. Sunlight filters down in golden beams, creating shifting patterns on the leaf-strewn ground. One of us points out a cluster of unusual mushrooms, glowing faintly under the leaves. We sketch these discoveries in our notebooks, mindful that even small details are treasures in this world. By mid-afternoon, the air feels heavy with warmth. We pause in a sun-dappled clearing to share another light meal of fruit and trail rations. Even food tastes better here, each bite bursting with foreign flavors. We laugh as we remember something silly from home, a break from the awe. It is important to hold these moments of normalcy, we remind each other. They keep us grounded. Once again, we pack up and move on, feeling closer than ever as a team. Finally, as the sun begins its slow descent westward, we gain a ridge overlooking a vast expanse. The golden fields and green forests spread out like a living tapestry, and we can see the enormous scale of this planet. On the horizon, distant storms once more flicker with lightning. We stand hand in hand, briefly, unified by the enormity before us. The light of the setting sun bounces off a distant lake, making it glimmer like a second sky. We say nothing. Words here would seem inadequate. The sky overhead is a deep indigo now, and as the first stars of this second night appear, we turn from the view and make our way back to camp. With long shadows behind us, the forest feels familiar now. We move slowly, savouring the final moments of the day. Although we have been walking for hours, our steps remain light. Ahead, the warm glow of the campfire welcomes us, and we walk into it together without a word, our silence enough to carry all we have shared. We come together around the fire once more, settling into the rhythm of making camp. The night again carries its lullaby. We take turns standing watch, but none of us truly sleeps. All our thoughts are rich with the day's discoveries. We glance up at the unfamiliar constellations when the flames dim, and each star still feels like an old friend. There is no dread here, only calm anticipation of what tomorrow might bring. Under these alien constellations, our sense of wonder is eternal. The first light of dawn now touches the hills around us. We pack up our camp with gentle efficiency. There is a quiet confidence in our movements. Each task completes itself, each gear stowed without hurry. We share a glance, silently promising to continue. Without a final word, we set off once more, stepping into the unknown as the new day breaks.